Hello and welcome to a very quiet and subdued episode of the Destiny Community Podcast, where nobody will be making any loud sounds.
You want me to turn my lights off, Briar?
That'd be preferable. Thank you.
Briar's doing well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my birthday. My wife took me out like a champ, and on the drive home, she pulls into one last bar, and she's like, "Let's do some shots." I'm like, "Yeah, what a great idea."
And Mike says I'm the one with the problem.
How many shots did you do? I remember when we went to karaoke.
It's like, I can't count that high.
Liquor?
Yeah.
Because I only drink beer.
Yeah, beer.
Beer shots.
I generally don't drink hard liquor. Except
liquor.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard TV. We know you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, I was like, Mike,
Dash filled us in before we invited to the show. Gotta watch this guy.
I love him, but he makes it hard.
So we got a lot going on today, and we got a new host. We got Jay Sniberton coming on the show. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm really hungover.
Jay is here. Woo.
How you doing, Jay? How's life?
Doing all right. Yeah, life's been kind of weird this year, but I'm gonna be flipping my schedule in a couple of weeks here, so I'm gonna be amongst the living.
You're gonna stream
it?
Yeah,
I was
like, day shifter, baby.
For the first time in like 8 years. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It'll be interesting.
Huh?
Yeah, I've been on like Aussie time for the past basically 7.5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you guys stream at the same time. That's right.
Yeah, basically. Well, used to. Now he's different. Mylan's like different now, right?
Yeah. Well, you used to stream like Aussie time as in like Aussie afternoons when Aussies were around. So you had a large, cohort of Australians who went bums during the day. Whereas I stream the American nighttime, you stream the Aussie nighttime.
Yeah.
But now you're going to be streaming Americano nighttime.
No, morning. Like
Morning.
early.
Morning.
Oh, really? Like
I'll be streaming when I normally am
That's a big
sleeping.
shift.
Yes.
the morning radio crowd.
I'm flipping
yeah.
my sleep and
You're gonna have to get a sound bar and do like all sorts of goofy stuff on stream.
Yeah, that's right. You got the work lurkers
Oh,
now,
right.
man. They're a whole different crowd.
the soothing sounds of Briar Rabbit.
That's right. Are you excited? You got to be excited not to have to shoot.
Yeah,
at night
I'm excited.
anymore.
I'm a little nervous. I mean, like I've always had the same schedule, so you build a community around that schedule,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then completely flipping it. So, but I figured this is the year of F it. Fuck it. Just like all the ideas, all the thoughts we've had, the art. My wife has been wanting me to do this for 3 years, 4 or 5 years, and I've been pushing back, and it just got to be a time where it's like, you know what? It's time. Like she got kind of a promotion due to some stuff that happened with her work, and I was like,
Hey,
I just need
congratulations.
better support. Yeah.
Nice.
So it'll work better for us, and I'll be able to be awake, not at noon or 1 on the weekends. So yeah, it'll be nice. How are
Very
y'all
good.
doing?
Good. Are you gonna switch it all at once, or are you gonna like slowly migrate like hour by hour?
No.
You're just gonna
Cold turkey.
break
I
into
mean,
it. You snap into it like a Slim Jim.
Oh yeah. I've been flip-flopping my schedule for 6 years now, so it'll be fine. And
Yeah.
I just want to rip the Band-Aid with the community. We're still gonna do Friday nights, so I don't want to like completely leave everybody behind. So
Yeah.
we'll do like a short Friday night stream as well. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I didn't want to like, if you were gonna do that, then like people are catching you, and then they're like, oh, but now I can't because you switched again,
Yeah.
and that'd just be a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Just, rip the Band-Aid off.
Well, congratulations. I hope that goes really smoothly because the daylight is cool.
I won't see it. I won't see it. I'll be in the office with
That's right.
blackout
You
shades
streaming?
on.
Yeah.
How long are your streams, Jay? Normally,
5 or 6 hours now, most of the time.
pretty beefy.
Now, like, back in the day, 7-8 years ago, people were doing 8, 10, 12-hour
Yeah.
streams, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how we all got
Not
RSI and
anymore.
bad
I used to
backs.
stream 6 minutes a week.
Yeah, that's right.
Why my back hurts. Yep.
I got
Yeah.
kids now, so you can't really do that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it's probably for the best. I ended up making transitions away from those longer sessions like that too. And I'm so glad I did.
You
Things are just so much easier.
switched off Twitch, right? You're on YouTube now.
Yeah, I mean, I've run the gauntlet: Twitch, and then Facebook, and then now YouTube. And occasionally you'll see me on Twitch too. I pop in there every now and then if it's like a day that I really want to stream, but I uploaded a video and I can't like double dip on notifications on YouTube, or else the algorithm doesn't like that. It's like it'll cut if I upload a video and then I go live. It'll like basically cut the video off there and just say, no, you're done accumulating views there. Now we're just going to push out the stream. So if I don't want to kill my video, or it's a sponsored video and I need it to do well, I'll just run over to Twitch and stream there instead.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, having some diversifying your content nowadays is way more important too. Like 7-8 years ago, you could just stream on Twitch all day and it was fine, but now you have to do TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff.
It's exhausting, man.
It is exhausting.
I find text messaging to be exhausting. Never mind. Like my phone rings. I'm like, ah. Who the fuck is
trying to get him to respond to a Twitter DM is pretty fun.
Well, especially when I'm drunk. I woke up this morning and I realized that I had some missed DMs from Chatty.
He was still drunk. Yeah, no,
probably.
Woke up still drunk.
So we got a lot of Destiny stuff to talk about.
Destiny, me favorite game.
The raid was last weekend.
There was a raid.
Has everybody done the raid? I have not done the raid yet. Raise your hand if you have not done the raid yet. Okay, it's just me.
Yes, you.
I got questions.
You're
like
in
why
the
are you
raid.
in the raid, Friar? That's my first question.
You know, look, I found it pretty funny that like the text underneath the name was, "You can't get rid of this fucking guy."
It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's very close to that.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have thoughts on the raid? What do we think?
Thoughts?
Oh boy. How much time
there is drama. All right. Let's fight.
Did y'all do contest mode?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to this time around.
Once and I did contest mode.
Oh, y'all were together? That's cool.
I think it took what?
10?
Is it 10 hours? Something like that. We actually had a really good time compared to what was being said on Twitter. Well, look,
you know why? You know why, Mario. You know why. You know why. You get
what was being said on Twitter?
You know why.
What was like the?
Oh no. Okay, so I think there's some legitimate and fair criticism of the final boss, Nezarek, who is a melee boss who had very cool abilities, was pretty much like a Rolk that would move around and really...
He's a brawler.
Yeah, can you hit the vacuum cleaner in the background?
No, not really.
Okay, fine. I'm still soundproof.
Now that you pointed it out. Now that you pointed it out.
Only when you talk.
Not all I can hear is... That's it.
I just look behind the little robot vacuum going... like, I fucking hate that thing. And so Nezarek was a melee boss with a bunch of cool abilities, especially that he could suppress you like a Tormentor and knock you out of your super. When we got to that room, we pretty much assumed it was like a roaming DPS phase. We didn't even stand in a well. We didn't stand on a platform. We didn't find a place where he would glitch out and just DPS him that way. You know, his crit spots were difficult to hit because he was moving around so much. So we just thought, you know what? It's a roaming DPS. Put on tracking rockets, jump around, or grenade launchers and do damage that way. And we got it done just in 3 phases. And we were there for quite a while.
Yeah.
As soon as we got off the raid and saw on Twitter that the main strat was like stand on a platform in a well with a machine gun, and you can 2-phase him very easily. Like that's when some of the complaints started to come in that he didn't have enough health or he wasn't hard enough. And I think it was a bit of a misplay by Bungie. Like I do think they intended it to be a roaming DPS. Players were always going to just find the easiest way to defeat this boss and stand on a plate.
That's what we do best.
It felt like it needed a little bit more time in the oven to boot people off the blades, to disable the Warlock
destroy
wells,
to
destroy wells. Like it felt like it was just missing that last little bit of polish to actually make that encounter how it probably should be. And I think the criticism is Bungie knows Destiny players right now. We will find any nook and cranny that we can put our dumpies into to like not be attacked by the boss.
We've been doing that since the beginning, though, right? Like since Vault of Glass, we used to use solar grenades to get the what's his name to like fall off the ledge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They had to patch that raid several times, if I remember correctly. You think they'll patch this one for this?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I think so.
And you're absolutely right. I do agree that I think that would have worked out a lot better if it was a roaming DPS system and they could find ways of enforcing that for sure. My other complaint, I will say, I actually liked the raid overall. Love the aesthetics.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I have mixed feelings on certain things. One of the things I didn't care for was I thought Nezarec was a really cool boss. Like his whole design, his moves, all that stuff was cool. But it really messed with my image of Nezarec. Like I felt like I expected Nezarec to be like more, I don't know. We have these discussions with him. We hear his dialogue and he's very like intuitive and menacing. And I expected something that's more of like a necromancer or some dark sorcerer, a more mind motivated, not just a meathead. Because that's what all he was. He was just this big beefy meathead swinging an axe the whole time. And that kind of, I was like, well, I kind of wanted something else for Nezarec than just to be a beefed up tormentor, but I'll roll with it.
I do think the tormentors took a little bit of the wind out of Nezarec's like reveal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like because when tormentors came, you're like, man, tormentors are really cool, and we saw we had already battled a whole bunch of tormentors, and then Nezarec he is a variant of a tormentor really, and I don't think he had that much punch compared to like when we saw Rolk for the first time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people were expecting like Nezarec to be another species, another disciple from another planet, world, galaxy that was, the thing is he's like some dream demon. Like he's not even like, so I think, I kind of agree. I was expecting a little bit different from his
different design. Yeah.
I was surprised. Yeah. I think his wings are cool. I think that's cool. I think him like constantly flashing light and dark is really cool. But I know that the disciples all kind of look this. Well, we know now that they all kind of look the similar way. We don't know why that is, or maybe we do.
Well, see, Callus didn't.
Callus didn't. Is it because he wasn't exposed to the darkness for long enough?
Well, not really. Like they all go through the similar progression where they're all broken and become unbroken, right? Like Callus was on his deathbed and got remade into his perfect form, and same with Rolk. Rolk basically died and came back to life and got remade. And I guess we were sort of predicting they were gonna have pyramid tech, and that was gonna be like their armor with like the bucket heads and stuff like that. But Callus got a bit of a glow up, so I don't think
maybe the witness was just keeping him sweet. To be like, we don't really care about Callus. Just give him the gold body. He's
That's right.
Die. Just give him what he wants.
From Moana.
Yeah. So I guess they all look like that because they've all been rebuilt by the witness. So that's.
I'm sorry. I'm still a little confused. Was the main controversy about the raid that it was too easy, or the fact that
we haven't gotten
you could just
there
stand still?
Those two things kind of go hand in hand. Okay. One of the complaints is that the bosses just didn't have enough health. Like people wanted to be challenged with boss health, and they dropped pretty quickly. Like a lot of the top tier teams were two-phasing bosses on contest mode, which is just not something historically that happens, right? You really have to. The thing about contest mode is that it gets easier when it's over, and then you can two-phase bosses and maybe bypass some wipe mechanics. But on day one, you should have to do all of the mechanics multiple times to get through these DPS checks. Usually you're getting to the enraged. I don't think anybody got Nezarec to the enraged stage, and clearing on contest mode.
There is no enraged stage. Once he goes enraged,
well, there you go. I didn't even know that because we didn't get that far.
If you try to go past that, he just kills you.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
I was
going to say there's a wipe mechanic that you have to do a certain mechanic to avoid the wipe. But the thing is, the ads were just so easy. They weren't a threat. You could just complete all the mechanics to lead to the DPS phase and completely bypass the white mechanic entirely on contest mode. That's one of the things people complain about, Briar.
Okay.
It's that, and the mechanic of the raid is like connecting dots pretty much. And that's like the only mechanic, except for the third encounter where there's some more going on. But for the most part, you just have like 1 or 2 people doing mechanics, and the rest is ad clear. And the ads don't pose any threat to you, and the mechanic isn't difficult. So for a contest day 1 raid where people, you know, they're strapped in, ready to go for 24 hours usually, and some teams do need that full 24 hours on contest. It wasn't. Definitely. It wasn't that experience, that like super intense. You've got to be really optimal with your DPS. You've got to nail these difficult mechanics for multiple phases. It wasn't really that.
As a counter argument, I was just going to say, especially for like King's Fall, one of the main complaints was that you had to use a very specific loadout to even clear it in the first place.
Yeah.
And this is kind of different than that. Like you could use so many different things to clear it. And as somebody who takes people through, last night we had a raid where we only had 2 or 3 people that hadn't done it, but they were lower level, like contest level or a little bit below. And it, you know, we went like full phases because we didn't have like optimal mod weapon, all that stuff happening. So it took a little bit longer. So, you know, you have the top tier teams with the top DPS strats and things like that get through it quickly, but everybody else, it takes a little bit longer. So like, where's that balance there from a design perspective for Bungie?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is hard to strike that balance because, I mean, going back to King's Fall, a lot of teams got DPS checked at War Priest and stayed on him for 12 hours, got angry, and then they were done. And so you're right. We kind of had 2 ends of the extreme there. And it is you know, as a PvP player, we've seen Bungie tends to overcorrect a lot in a lot of ways. And this could be one of those times where they just swung the pendulum a little too far in the opposite direction. But they might not even see it that way. They might be looking at the numbers and saying, look how many Day 1 Raiders we had. Look how many people are engaging with this content. We spent all these assets, time, and capital investing in developing. Now we've got tens of thousands of people doing it on day 1.
Who are interested in doing raids, or maybe the introduction to raids or contest mode. Because that is really a big carrot to keep playing Destiny, really. Is you need to get that. You need to get that taste of a day 1 raid or a contest mode or being part of that competition. And, you know, there are a lot of people now who have that taste for it. They got their first contest day 1, you know, emblems, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, bring it. Like, now I want to get all the gear. I want to do all my red borders. I want to raid more with my team. So next time it comes around, I can, you know, be even more competitive. And that's definitely a win too. I do think overall, this expansion has been very friendly to new players. I feel like part of the strategy is to get new people into the franchise before ending the Light vs. Dark saga, because it does sort of feel like the beginning of this year of storytelling. Like, if you look at the narrative, there's so many cutscenes that just gave you.
I looked at the narrative. I'm still looking. I'm not seeing it.
Still looking at it. You know, it gave you, you know, some of the cutscenes gave you all the backstory. You know, like Callus's one, it gave you a quick backstory of the last 8 years, you know, or whatever, the last 4 years of his story. And it was like, I see what they're doing. And they're trying to catch everyone up. And then, you know, obviously it didn't matter if you knew everything about the lore. Like, the Veil stuff was just non-existent. So it's like everyone's at the same page when it comes to the story come Lightfall. And then if you look at the raid, you know, it was a pretty friendly raid for people getting into it. So I sort of think this is their
I would argue though that that's not the primary function of the raid, right? Like, the famous stat was like only 3% of players would even enter raids in Destiny 1. I don't know if that's still true in Destiny 2. I suspect it's much higher now, but I bet it's not 10. I bet it's not like 25 or 40, right?
No, but I think I saw somewhere.
Maybe they wanted to be that though.
What the raid is really good at is doing huge numbers on Twitch. And like basically doing advertising for Destiny. Like, here is like the most like prestigious of all the people who play the game, doing it as hard as they can. They've worked as hard as they can to get to today by, like, you know, streaming or playing for like 80 hours this week, and if it was a 2-week setup time, maybe 8 hours the week before. And now we're gonna bang on this thing for 24 hours until we crack it or we don't. I would argue the most famous one of all those is the time that Datto's team beat the raid in like 24 hours and 2 seconds. Right? It's like, what a storyline! Like, how you can't pay for better advertising than that. It was like, you know, that there were articles about that on like in like mainstream like news outlets. It was such an amazing story.
Yeah, but I do think there's like they probably want to. Well, I think that they want to move away from just like advertising that one day to people having those experiences for themselves. Because I think that player comes back more than someone who tunes into a Datto stream for a day one.
But if they don't make it like that prestigious level event, then is it really the same thing?
Well,
especially in contest mode,
I guess what we're talking about, right? That's the discussion point, right? That's
especially
like
if in contest mode, like your average like early player can get through it in contest mode. Like it kind of takes some of the excitement out of the whole thing, right? If it just becomes an extended strike, then
So I would say that like this raid did feel different to other contest modes. During the second encounter, one of the challenges for the Triumph is to not kill these dudes that are immune unless you have a buff. During contest, we could just leave them. It's fine. We didn't need to worry about them because nothing was a threat in that raid except Nezarek's FPS glitching attack. That was really the only thing you had to worry about dying to. And when you have these dudes that, even when you go do a strike, they will destroy you, not doing anything to you on contest. It does feel a little weird. It's a little weird. So I think that, you want to get people into raiding for sure, because this is pinnacle content and it's amazing content. You want as many people to play it as possible. But I don't know if that entrance should necessarily be a contest. Day one of a raid.
But there is, like on Monday or I guess Sunday, really, right? It's Sunday that it turns from contest to regular mode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
it's a hard topic.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep, there's certainly valid points on both sides of it, and I've heard compelling arguments. I don't have strong feelings either way because I'm not the hardcore PvEer, but I do enjoy the challenge of day one raiding and always have. So, but I feel for the guys who I will say this: I do know that there's a lot of guys that prep all year round for these because of what it does for channel growth potential. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who made their name on
big time
because they were a nobody that barely anybody knew, and then suddenly they're in the top 2 or 3 teams on the final boss on contest day, and their stream numbers are huge. And it's the catalyst that launches them into a successful streaming career. Time. And I feel bad that some people may have missed out on that.
I feel for them because as PvP players, we went through the exact same conversations not too long ago where we were man, this thing I really love and I enjoy and I'm all about this one thing has been completely destroyed. And then you have people just yelling at you like, you hate casuals. You want us to die. You hate us. We're the worst person ever.
Actually, I hate casuals.
And it's the exact same conversation that is happening on Twitter. You have people who this is what they look forward to twice a year at the most. They prep for it. They practice with their teams and they go in there and it's not what they're used to. It's not what they expect. And they're sad about it. They're purely just expressing that they're sad that this experience that they normally love is not there.
Yeah.
I totally get them being sad. Yeah. Being sad is reasonable.
And look, I was trying to play devil's advocate. I wish it was harder. I wish there was more mechanics. I have an issue with it really did feel like a dungeon mechanic. In fact, it was basically the dungeon mechanic from Spire of Watcher in a different paint of coat. So like I am on team, less people completing contest mode, but to say like, just read in chat, like new players aren't competing in contest mode. It's incorrect. Everyone has a different starting point. There is one point in your Destiny playtime that this will be your first contest mode. And what do we call a new player? Yeah, we're not calling them like they haven't just booted up the game over a week. But if you look at some of the big
accepted term.
I mean, look at Shroud and that. Maybe they started playing a month out, or they re-picked it up a month out. and they've been playing a lot of other games, and they're competent in gaming, and they pick it up pretty quick. Like, do they count as a new player? I mean, those guys struggled on that raid, but they probably got into it now, and they're like, hey, that was not bad. Maybe I'll come back next time. Maybe I'll keep playing Destiny. Maybe I'll look to do harder content.
What if they just announce both versions of the? Or what if they both just released both versions of the raid, but the race was on the contest version, right? If you wanted to participate in the race, or you wanted the elite hard content, choose the. Well, no, you can't do that, because then you'll see the easy version. Yeah, never mind. That's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Or unlock contest once, or unlock normal once contest is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's 48, but
my bad.
You could do 24, ramp up the difficulty, keep it 24 like normal, and then have contest modifier go down after 24 hours. And so it's ramp up the difficulty for the first 24 hours, make the hardcores really love that and enjoy that race and have much fewer people completing it. But then 24 hours later, you're on a Saturday afternoon, and anybody who's just a casual Destiny 2 player who wants to dive into the raid, hey, now they've got most of the weekend, they can do that. I don't know, maybe that's the fair compromise.
Yeah.
But you did bring up an interesting point, Mylan, about the caliber of streamers that were coming over and playing Destiny. And a lot of those people, those big name streamers, had "Thank you, Bungie, for sponsoring my stream today" in their titles. And you wonder if maybe it was a little bit premeditated to have it be a little bit more approachable on day one contest, because they had planned on, and this isn't a knock on Bungie, this is business. Everybody does business strategies. Sometimes you pay people who have huge communities and lots of reach and influence, and you say, hey, we're going to pay you in a month to do a sponsored stream of our new raid, so make sure you're getting in, playing the game, and getting leveled up for that. And if the paycheck's good, they'll come. And they'll bring their audience with them. And so, I don't know. Maybe that was a factor too. Who knows?
Like I said, honestly, I think this Livefall was about getting that last bit of new players into the game for this end of the saga. And you can just join in and you'll know what's going on and you'll be able to do it and get into raiding, and then whatever they've got planned for after that.
Yeah. Somebody in chat did mention that because the LFG is getting released, that maybe this raid was more LFG friendly for that specific purpose as well, which made sense. And as somebody who, runs newer people through raids all the time, I'm on both sides of the fence. Like, part of me does like more complicated raids. When I ran through this for the first time, I was like, there's a lot less mechanics and stuff, and people can just like shoot and run around, and they don't really even have to know what's going on, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, having a little bit of diversity in the types of raids that you're running, instead of, if every single raid that you run, if you're like helping people or running groups through, is difficult and frustrating points and all that stuff, then it gets really tiring. So having kind of a balance of like, oh yeah, this is a fairly easy raid where I can hang out and chat, and we can just stick around for a lot of it, trolling each other in the jumping puzzle and stuff like that, then it's kind of fun to do that and then go back to like Last Wish and doing that. But if every raid is just like tiring and
that's true. Last Wish is kind of like the opposite side of that, where it's just like everybody's got to be on point. You got to be doing call outs constantly, unless you just like cheat your way through it.
I like both. I like both, but I like a balance.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about the raid that is positive that I do want to say was really compelling to me was the fact that you go in a full circle and the final encounter is the first encounter, but it's terraformed by the power of the Traveler. It's been terraformed, and where you started connecting those dots, those platforms are the ones that are all broken up and scattered around the DPS, stage for the final arena. I thought that was a really cool touch. And the fact that you start the raid at Nezarec, he's in there. You can literally walk up to it, and if you stand just the right way, you can sort of see his silhouette in there as he's forming.
So how would you feel if I start making PvP videos? How about that?
I would welcome it personally.
Yes, I would too.
I would like to see the lore of PvP, frankly.
Just Mylan swearing the entire video.
That is cool.
I thought that was a really cool touch.
The environmental storytelling in the raid is very subtle, like all good environmental storytelling. But once you sort of know what to look for, they actually did a really good job on Nezarec lore and acknowledging the gear has really good lore on it and acknowledges a lot of the OG like 2017 Nezarec lore, and it makes a lot of sense. On the surface level, though, when you play it, you're like, wait, how did he go from a cup of tea to in here?
Right. And that's how we felt, right? I literally DM'd Mylan after, and I was like, so that was cool. I loved the vibe of it. Colors great, music great. How is he a T and also in the moon and also in the witness ship?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can explain that if you want to talk about the lore. But
Nezarec lore, I really like the lore.
Unpack it.
Yeah.
Give us the 101.
Yeah, let's give us the juice.
Right. Yeah. So as Tiffy said, like that initial starting area is where you loop back around. When the Traveler fired the laser beam, it was like, part of the terraforming nature of the Traveler. This is how the light grows stuff. We've never actually seen this happen before. We're assuming how the other planets were terraformed, so we could live on them with the power of the light. And so the Traveler shot that beam into the Witnesses Pyramid, which we actually do have confirmation. Like, we assumed it was the Witnesses Pyramid, but we also got the developer insight today as well. And the whole reason they put that room in with the planets was to make that connection, right? That this is the Witnesses Pyramid ship.
I'm going to raise my hand real quick to ask a question. Were the planets in that room like the actual planets, like just like miniaturized? Do you think they're models, or do you think they're like that's actually the planet?
I don't know, but in the developer insight, they said, "Oh, that's Io and Titan and stuff." So they're meant to, at the very least, represent those planets. If they're the actual planets, I don't know.
I mean, in the other videos, when the witness is like moving stuff around, it's supposed to kind of represent the actual planet. At least that's how I internalized it. I might be wrong. But
it's I do think it's meant to represent them. Yeah. So don't be swinging off the planets with these strands, okay? People, be respectful.
You could be killing entire people groups on those.
It's fine.
It's like, okay, just imagine there's a miniature Sloane there somewhere, okay? Help, please help me. She's typing SOS into the oceans of time. So the light beam goes into the Witnesses pyramid ship, and great shot hits Nezarec in this little tomb thing.
I would say.
And that's what sparks the growth. So because that's the opening scene of Livefall, and so then eventually, as you play through Livefall, the Neomuni. Yeah. The Neomuni start getting the nightmares of Nezarec, right? So he starts infiltrating the Cloud Ark, and that's sort of what leads into the raid, because it doesn't really give you a proper lead into this raid, like why you go there. There's no little fly-in dialogue that you sometimes get. Like
that would have been helpful, I think, for some players. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was a flash screen that came up, because sometimes those little flash screens give you like, hey, Vanguard's detected an unusual signal coming from the pyramids. Go investigate.
Could be the source of the Neomuni nightmares. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whenever somebody says Neomuni, it makes me think it's like a cult or something.
Neomuni is cute. I like it.
Yeah. Well, we got some cults to talk about too in a second. Bri, you're involved deep. You're in deep. To be honest.
I just love the names. I see those names. I think they have all these awesome creative names for people in Destiny, and then we get Nezarec's acolytes. We got Rufus and Michael. There's Bob, Frank.
If AI could name people,
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
So someone asked why is he tormenting them, and this is the part that's not super clear. So Nezarec,
he's kinky, Mylan. He's kinky.
Yeah,
he talks about licking and tongues, and he likes tormenting people.
He's a very naughty boy. He's Freddy Krueger, right? He's Nightmare on Elm Street. He feeds on pain and fear, and he does have this ability to get into people's minds and haunt them in nightmares. They don't really explain that apart from There's some in-game dialogue that he just has like psionic abilities for whatever reason, and he just like existed before the Golden Age, pre-Golden Age, which we'll get to in a sec, which is all the armor lore. Like he just was around, like haunting people and doing stuff. He was some alien doing alien stuff in your dreams kind of deal. So yeah, the light beam goes through. Now, on the witness's ship is only Nezarek's head. And that's sort of explained too. As you go through, the witness basically says, there wasn't many pieces of you left. All I could find is the head. And then if you read the Hunter chest piece armor, it talks about how a Lixney goes into the pyramid ship, into Nezarek's pyramid ship, which is on the moon, after the collapse. So Nezarek did lead the collapse for the witness, and Savathun betrayed them. His ship crash landed on the moon. The Lixney came through, chopped the body up, but left the head, right? We ended up collecting the pieces was a season of Haunted, but apparently the head was still there. And that's what the witness picked up and brought to the ship. And so when the light pierced it, that's what started the sort of resurrection of Nezarek. And as you progress through the raid, you're connecting all these like light points and also dark points. And that is, we actually like fuel the terraforming nature of the plants as you go through. So the plants like open up and they develop, and that's how that last platform gets all pushed apart because the plants are growing, right? And it grows into like the tree of silver wings or whatever it is. And his body basically grows back. And we are sort of baited into doing that. When you first enter the raid, if you listen to what Nezarek says, he's like, you just couldn't resist, right? Like, I'm glad you got my messages, which we're assuming are the nightmares of the Neomuni. Right. And we go in there and we use all our paracausality, and that sort of feeds him, and he grows from that. Because he says, I was so scared you were going to leave me here to rot. So obviously we ended up bringing him back to life just to take him out again. Yeah. And he's died before. Like, he is a character that death, he sort of transcends death. He lives in nightmares. He lives in this other plane of existence kind of deal. So, when you
even
defeat
gives
him,
you some of that dialogue. Yeah. When you kill him.
Yeah. At the end, you kill him and he's like, I keep living on or whatever.
I ain't gone, baby.
I ain't gone. Yeah. So that's like the general like environmental storytelling of the raid, which is pretty good and pretty exciting. They then explain the tombs of Nezarek a little bit more and the whole pre-Golden Age text, because like the original Nezarek Sin helmet, like there was rumors of Nezarek pre-Golden Age, and everyone's like, how did that happen? Because we now know he was at the collapse. So if he didn't come to the collapse, like, why was he around? And it's sort of just revealed that, he was this just nightmare creature being that just existed in the world, in the universe. And there ended up being a cult that worshipped him.
Yeah.
And and I don't know what Briar's role was in that. I know Michael's role and Nessa's role. I have to have a look at what it says about Briar.
I don't know exactly what his role is. I remember that Briar got tormented, and Briar was like, "Stop it! I don't like it. The torment's bad." And then the connection was able to be severed, and then Briar came back and was like, "Just kidding. I love the whispers in my brain."
Oh yeah, sorry. Briar was the Titan, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Sunbreaker.
Yeah, sorry, I do remember. Yeah, Briar was the Sunbreaker. Yeah. So each of the class items goes through like a character that ends up being tormented by Nezarek. So the Titan is a Sunbreaker. The Hunter is a Scion? ? No, the Warlock is a Scion. And the Hunter was the chat will know. Someone else. Anyway, there's like three characters that get haunted, and they're basically like are just absolutely tormented by Nezarek. They have all these nightmares, etc. And then they keep getting visited by this Wanderer who has this magical tome book that's all like dedicated to Nezarek. And this ends up being like this family cult that had sort of discovered Nezarek and the power of Nezarek, and they're basically like feeding him fear through nightmares, essentially. And they were converting people into acolytes of Nezarek. And so
it's like Monsters Inc. You need to get people to scream to power up the company.
Pretty much a little bit like that, actually.
Wow.
Like, wait, yeah, it's boss section.
Yeah, and one of them was Michael. He becomes like, I guess, the next leader of this like Nezarec cult. Yeah. And then I think it was in the exotic ship law. They hint about the tombs, and they're like, "Oh, what about the tombs? What about the drifter going to the tombs?" And it hints at the tombs were Elixir made, so sort of puts a timeline that probably after the Elixir like chopped up Nezarec. And a lot of them became corrupted. They probably created some tombs of Nezarec to hide the body parts because one of these acolytes, one of these cult leaders, encountered the Drifter in the fourth tomb of Nezarec, trying to find a body part. So, sort of gives you some information there that the tombs were likely created by the Elixir to separate Nezarec's body parts. And
do you know when that would have happened?
Yeah, I did a little time on this. So it's obviously this is all post-collapse. Yeah. So it would have been like pre-collapse, Nezarec just existed. Actually, I've got like a little summary here because
bring up your. Do you have your paint timeline?
Well, I am going to do a paint timeline, but it's 12 points here. This is my 12 points of summary. I'm giving you dessert before you've had dinner because this is the very end of the video that's going out.
Spoil us, my
Make sure to watch the video. Make sure to watch the video. Leave a like on it. Leave tormented balls in the comments. That's probably good.
It's way better than Bife's video. Trust me.
Tormented balls.
Oh, tormented paint also works for the TTs.
The TTs. So this is my Nezarec timeline. I just said Nezarec existed pre-Golden Age, just haunting nightmares, doing tormenting stuff. For whatever reason, a family starts worshiping Nezarec. We don't know exactly why. This explains the pre-Golden Age text, right? All the rumors of this.
I'm sorry,
ghoul existing.
I don't mean to keep it up. Is that Michael's family that started? Because Michael's family didn't start, or what? Michael's family might have been pre-Golden Age, but Michael didn't start until the Elixir were around.
So the law goes into like basically it gets passed down to him. It's like this family
like on his
heirloom
18th birthday or whatever.
Yep, literally on his 18th birthday in the law. Yeah.
Sorry, I knew I messed up with my kids. On their 18th birthday, we should have tortured some aliens, and then everything would have turned out different.
Yeah. On his 18th birthday, he literally gets instructed by his father to extract the fear from a captive Elixir.
So that had to be post-collapse.
That was post-collapse, yeah.
Yeah, but his family was probably worshiping him before that because generations.
Yeah, so it sort of implies there's been generations of this family that have known about this, this nightmare of Nezarec and have been worshipping him and have this sort of tome that's all in sort of honor of Nezarec. At some point he dies multiple times. We don't know exactly how he dies. But Nezarec talks about multiple deaths and he sort of keeps getting reincarnated. Maybe that's the whole point of this cult, is to keep bringing him back. He would then obviously have to become a disciple at some point as well to be like the disciple of the witness.
Is he fleshy and red?
Is he a lobster? Yeah.
Is a lobster? So. Are we sure?
Wait, lobsters are
I guess we're not sure. What? They have to be destroyed or something and then be rebuilt as lobsters.
How do you guys eat lobster?
But maybe
I'm just picturing Zoidberg. Just
yeah. That's very accurate.
Lobster bus.
I have a quick question about the eyeballs because that's something to do with maybe him dying, right?
Okay. I don't know anything about the eyeballs. I haven't really read anything about why his eyes are different. Only what you sent me in.
Yeah, that's the only thing we have.
The concept art made a comment on the eyeballs, which is cool because
heterochromia and eyes of disparate species is a result of chimeric fusion.
Oh, okay. I didn't read that before. There was another comment on the eyes that just said like cool looking eyes to make sure he looks alien. Did you see that one? That was
this one is that his eyes are a result of chimeric fusion. So I was like, well, a chimera is like putting things together, right? Like that's what chimeras are. So that made me think that maybe his eyes represent the different like species that he's become after being resurrected.
So in the raid armor lore, they talk about like the Scion story. They abduct one Scion, and the cult was like, "Oh, this will feed Nezarec for quite some time," kind of deal. So it does seem like he feeds on that fear and the nightmares and that kind of stuff. So it might just be a representation of like powers he's absorbed or people he's defeated, kind of deal.
Yeah, it could be either. Chimeric
because he does have
psionic
abilities, so maybe that's how he got his psion abilities.
I still think he's a scion.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I still think he's one of those old ass dudes in a bubble. He's the original old bubble man.
It's the bubble boy.
You reckon he's like Men in Black, and if you take off the mask, it's like the little scion in there, like
that's
little sticks. Yeah. Okay, timeline. Okay, so he becomes a disciple at some point, then leads the collapse for the Witness. Savathun stops him. His pyramid ship crashes on the moon. The Elixir discover the pyramid ship. They chop him up, take the body parts, leave the Eds. Then they must realize we've unlocked a massive curse here. The Elixir then make some tombs of Nezarec to lock down the body parts. The family that still worships Nezarec are trying to track down the tombs. That's how we get the Nessa and Drifter storyline in the fourth tomb of Nezarec. The Witness finds Nezzy's head, puts it aboard his pyramid ship, tries to get the other body parts during Season of the Haunted, fails, Guardians do the better. Witness attacks Earth, Traveler then fires a light beam, hits Nezarec's head, starts the resurrection process. We then enter the raid.
Traveler's really fucking shit up lately. First of all,
I think it was on purpose.
It's gotta be. That's a snipe shot right there.
I think it was on purpose because we're also like in the raid, we are rebuilding Nezarec to be able to take him out because we can't take him out until he's been rebuilt. So I'm like,
But if we didn't make him alive, then we wouldn't have to kill him.
But he was still tormenting the. Well, no, that's true.
But he's still gonna.
Yeah,
torment,
he was. Yeah.
Right? But maybe. He was the leader of the first collapse, and we're looking at the second collapse. So maybe the Traveler wanted to make sure that he's not collapsing.
I think the Traveler's pulling another Savathun situation. We're like, I don't know. These Guardians don't seem to be handling this shit. They're all fucking around.
Savathun's good, though.
Let's see if this guy can help me out.
Savathun took down Nezzy, cursed his body.
The Traveler with the super, yeah, probably just that.
I have a question. I don't know if Mylan, if you covered this in the video, but how do we go from, Nezarec being a disciple to like having his stuff that we're wearing as gear, like the helmet and the robes of Nezarec, which look nothing like how he is now. I assume that's his pre-disciple form.
I hadn't really thought about this, but my gut reaction is though that equipment is probably about the acolytes of Nezarec, not like the Titan gear. I'm assuming is like Briar is like I don't know, representation of Briar becoming an acolyte of Nezarec.
You're in the game, Briar. You get over it.
You'll never hear the end of this.
Because what's the hunter is? Oh, I need to look it up. Elixir, but does your gear look like Elixir? Not really.
No.
I gotta say, the Warlock gear is really cool. Like, I love the arms sticking out of the back. Like, a lot of people hate the raid armor. I think it looks so cool. I think
the raid armor is amazing.
Yeah,
that's great. It looks like unique armor, right? It's the kind of armor where you see it and you're like, where's that from? Okay, that makes sense that it's from a raid. Whereas the others is like space shooter, military.
I mean, that might be an Eververse set. I don't know. But then with this, it definitely stands out for sure. It's an eye grabber.
I'll tell you how it looks once I get some because all I've gotten is weapons.
As a PvP player,
see, that's the opposite of me.
When that happens to me.
I always want the weapons. I don't care about the armor. I want the weapons.
Oh, you want the cape. You do. You
the Hunter cape is hideous.
No, it's not.
I will say that though. I
think so.
I put that thing on. I was like, I'm a monstrosity. A face only a mother could love.
Get it caught in some floorboards.
I do like the Titan. I like the Titan. It's like a night clown.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like a halvesies. Like one half of it looks like.
Yeah, that's that. If it's based on Briar, that makes sense. Briar. When I think of Briar, he's a night clown. He'll protect you. And
Are you insulting me? I'm not sure.
I heard Night Clam and got a completely different visual in my head.
I heard Clam too. I heard Clam.
Really?
I was like, what's a day clam and what's a night clam?
Well, but I was following you because a lot of the gear looks like it came out of a coral reef. Like it's that vibrant and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wavy.
Also, maybe it's just meant to represent the terraforming nature of the traveler.
Crawdaddy.
That's why. Yeah, Crawdaddy. That's why it's all.
I need a new raid team because Cool Guy and crew just referred to all the terraform stuff as the Easter Bunny's butthole the entire time we were there.
Oh, that's solid.
We are going in buttholes.
Yeah, I was like,
my respect for Cool Guy just went up a notch.
Pryor's like, hey, can you get me on that raid team?
You don't even have to do anything, Briar. You just sit back and commentate. They'll take you through the raid.
Snicker every time.
Well, that's basically it. That's the lore of Nezarec. That's like the environmental lore plus the armor lore, and yeah, they pretty much covered all the Destiny 1 lore too, which is nice because one of my big criticism of Lightfall is it felt like they sort of forgot about all the old lore, and I think they actually did a really good job with the lore surrounding Nezarec. I think they did a lot of justice to him.
Yeah, it's real cool.
In the lore, I still think it is hard for new players if you just played Season of the Haunted or whatever and like went from T to Nezarec, but
that's what your
it's there if you look hard enough. Yeah.
And the cool part about Nezarec isn't really in the game, it's in the lore, which is kind of unfortunate because it is really cool learning about all the people that tormented him or like how he convinced the Scion to, hey, you can give me your lover, I'll totally give him back. And then has to work for Nezarec to potentially get the lover back. Like, it's all just really interesting, but none of that is actually in the game that you can experience, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have loved an Inkblot cutscene of like each disciple and a short little story about them.
Yeah, because didn't we get an Inkblot introducing Last Wish? Didn't Last Wish start with the Inkblot, or was it at the end?
After the raid was done.
It was just at the end. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Oh, it unlocked for everybody too, right? Didn't it?
Yeah.
But that
there
was
like,
like,
Inkblot after this raid.
That was for like also the world transformation of the Dreaming City too, wasn't it? Like that Inkblot storyline for Last Wish.
It did change the whole Dreaming City. Yeah, it would have been cool if like maybe nightmares started popping up. So it's like Nezarec's still there. He's just incubating. He's in the womb.
Is there going to be some kind of connection to the raid in Neomuna or somewhere else moving forward, or is it just like going to be completely separate?
I don't know. So
doesn't feel super connected.
Bungie's been pretty good at updating in-game dialogue as the story progresses.
True.
Like, there's something they've like consistently done, and I do wonder whether we'll hear more of Nezarec in-game.
I hope so.
I think he could probably. He seems like a cheeky character that they could bring back in and like, haha, I'm still here.
It's gonna be another Alice situation where he's gone for 3 or 4 years and then all of a sudden pops back in as the main character.
Rip Callus.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Well, here's the thing. I guess the good. Someone just mentioned Osiris. I mean, like Osiris would fit into the category of all the other people that had been. Like had an experience with Nezarec, so like that's an easy storyline they could follow up with.
But didn't Nezarec even say like who has my parts? Where are they? Have there been any symptoms of having my parts yet?
Have you been eating Nezarec parts?
I wish. Yeah, he did say that, which I was like, oh, because he was expecting that if anyone is in possession of any part of Nezarec, that they're going to have some kind of side effect for being in possession of that. So I was like, Osiris drank a lot of you.
And he kind of turned into a real a-hole during the campaign, so...
Yeah. Osiris had a Nezzy smoothie. Yeah, true.
The coolest we ever thought Osiris was before we met him. When what's his name just
when Brother Vance was like,
Brother Vance was like, he's the coolest man. You're gonna love him. As soon as we met him, we're like, this guy sucks.
Well, we had that Curse of Osiris trailer where they showed him Osiris fighting in the Vaults of Glass.
That's right.
Do you remember that trailer?
That was
and
cool
everyone was like,
That was cool.
Well, we didn't know it was going to be the worst DLC of all time.
Apparently not that much worse if you look at IGN's score reviews.
Oh, yeah, IGN went in hard.
Only a 0.5 better than Curse of Osiris.
Did explain.
I like Curse of Osiris, so, what am I?
They did quantify that a little bit, and I think to the reviewer's credit, while I disagree with his overall score for Lightfall, he did say, you may be wondering why I rated Shadowkeep, which is arguably a worse DLC, better than this one. He said, well, essentially it's because the Bungie gave up on novelty. So at the time, like, Bungie was doing new things, and Shadowkeep was at least shaking up what we came to expect from the Destiny experience, and it was enjoyable at the time. But it's been several years, and we're just doing the same stuff, and it's formulaic, and that's even feedback that we Destiny lovers have been saying a lot lately. We're getting a little formulaic here, guys. And so he did kind of explain why those scores are the way they are, to his credit, even if I do ultimately disagree with his final scoring.
When I read that article, I thought it was pretty fair discussion from somebody who clearly plays a lot of Destiny.
Right.
He wasn't like out of pocket on this. It was a rough score.
Well, wasn't it?
I think
I was just gonna say.
I think the criticism is probably more with like the consistency in scoring from IGN, I guess, rather than the score itself. I think probably most people agree with some of the criticisms of Lightfall, but it's hard when you've got, it's not the same reviewer each time with IGN, and you've got other games which you'd arguably would be worse that have a high score, and you'd be like, oh, come on. You don't get that consistency with that big company compared to, an individual reviewer.
Did the IGN score preface it with the fact that we don't have the whole story yet? I was trying to remember.
No, initially it was just a placeholder score at 5 out of 10, and it had a little disclaimer that said this is not the final score. Obviously, scoring is still in process. And then after the raid, I believe, was when they published the final scoring, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I think that's
so. By that point, most of the narrative, side exotic quests, and raid narrative, all that stuff had been out.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Cool.
Lord.
But you are right about IGN's inconsistency. I don't know if you saw this. They actually had to reissue a statement on their rating for The Mandalorian season 3, episode 2 last week. They had to amend it because they basically gave it a terrible score. Like, was it 4 or 5 out of 10? Like, failing score. And the only criticism,
they gave it a 4 out of 10
in the whole thing. The only criticism they said was it was too dark. I couldn't see what was happening.
Okay, everyone was like, they really need to change their TVs.
And everyone was like,
so many times.
Everyone was like, "What are you talking about? I can see everything clearly." Like, and then they amended it. They went back and they're like, "I watched on a different TV and it was better."
That was the Mines episode, right? Was that the Mines episode?
Yeah.
That episode was
I thought that was a killer episode.
It was a good
personally,
episode.
Like a lover of like the old school like Clone Wars and stuff, where we got a lot of Mandalore lore back then. Seeing it all come full circle, I was geeking out over that episode.
I was like, you can't rate like this year's DLC compared to a DLC that came out 5 years ago, because that ignores all the context of the last 5 years. Like, you can't rate 5 years ago DLC against the Witch Queen. Right? The Witch Queen didn't happen. The last, the Dreaming City didn't happen. Like, that stuff elevated Destiny's game in a huge way.
Yeah, you're right. Context absolutely matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
But that was a good episode of Mandalorian.
What the fuck? Do you guys like having the main story expansion released at the same time as like the expansion pass stuff?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Activities, story. It's so much.
If there's not,
I think it could be. I think it could be delayed a little bit.
At the same time, then I feel like I don't have anything to do when the new stuff comes out. I get this campaign for a few hours, and then I'm just like, okay, well, now what? So it's nice that I could just jump into the seasonal stuff.
Sure. But what if they didn't?
I feel like there's been enough for me to do, to be honest, without. I mean, the stories only takes 2 hours a week. It's not like you're doing a lot. I guess the seasonal activity if you're grinding that, but I don't know. I think it could be delayed a little bit, to be honest, rather than like releasing immediately.
I didn't dive into the any seasonal content the entire first week of Lightfall. It wasn't until week 2 that I started diving into it. So I mean, if they offset it by a week or two, that'd be fine by me.
Just seems like, you know, you load into the game and then you have like, all right, do this, and then it's like, okay, I have the story quest, but then all these other quests that I'm not even sure what they're for, and there's just that disparity, and then you accidentally load into it. Doesn't have the UI to really tell you. You know, you kind of know what the main story is, but you don't know if like the side quest is connected to the main story, or if this is the seasonal stuff. And
that's a very fair point.
Yeah, you start doing something, you're like, wait, this is completely different. This isn't right. I got to go back. You know,
that should be clear.
There were so many exotic quests in Livefall, like the main campaign story wise. Okay, sure, everyone's like, it's a little bit disappointing. The post campaign has been actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, you've got your normal Destiny grinding, but there's been a whole bunch of like story in there, like what is it, 3 exotics, all that kind of stuff, and
cool,
that's been keeping me going.
Not like lame
but
ones.
Like, yeah,
and
I like,
you know, you had the raid race too, so I think there's been like enough to keep people going, and then you can introduce the seasonal story.
Would you rather see it broken up, Jay?
My argument is generally that there's too much to do right away. It's just like they just throw the bucket on us. Other than the story specifically, just like there's just so many things, you know. And if you're grinding for the raid and trying to do all the pinnacles and get all the new gear and all that stuff, then it's fine. But if you're trying to focus on one thing or something like that, it's overwhelming to me, anyways.
I found going through the story for the first time, it was annoying to me that like it didn't. Sometimes it felt like I had to stop doing the story and go grind. You know what I mean? It's like go kind of get more powerful and then come back to the story. That
you weren't doing legendary story?
No, I was just doing regular.
Legendary story pretty much keeps you correct light level.
Just going one to one,
like throwing gear at you.
Yeah, which is nice.
I just wanted to get through the story fast. Maybe the play is to do legendary to get through it. You know, because that was the main attraction for me for Lightfall. I was like, all right, here we go. This is like the story I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Really, legendary Lightfall story was pretty easy except for the very final boss, in my opinion. But
yeah, a lot of people struggled with the Callus fight, which I appreciated the difficulty level of the Callus fight. I enjoyed it.
I appreciated tons of videos talking about how to cheese the Callus fight.
That checks out.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah.
The exotic quest for Vexcalibur was really good.
I loved it. Well, I was not prepared for how much of a challenge it would be. Like I moseyed on in there solo. Like, oh yeah, I may as well check this out. I was waiting on a video to render for YouTube anyways, so I moseyed on in there, and like an hour later, I'm like, you know, at the final boss, like scrambling for my life. Yeah. My health bar was flashing like crazy because I wasn't running like any recovery stuff, no solar. I was just running my fun strand build. Yeah. No, I was like, please God no. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
It's tough to run strand when you don't have any healing.
It's true. It is a glass cannon of a subclass, which I adore. Like I love Strand. To me, Strand is one of the like biggest redeeming qualities of the whole Lightfall DLC because I think they absolutely crushed delivering Strand.
Agree, big time. It's very hard to take off Strand, even though it's doesn't have the best survivability. It's just
survivability is great, Mylene. You just need the woven mail.
A woven mail's good, and yeah, like with the right, I think Strand is how it should be. Like with the right setup and the right play, you can survive. You get woven mail, okay, and this seasonal artifacts got like volatile rounds. You put that with a repulsor, okay, now you got void shields, woven mail, like it's fine. But it's also compared to Sunbreaker, where you literally just throw a hammer and you just live forever.
Yeah, health on command.
It's like. It takes more work to get the survivability ball rolling, which is how I think it should be. But the other classes are still quite powerful. It
seems like people in chat don't know how to play Strand Hunter in higher end PvE. Here's what you do. Stop being a little bitch hiding in the bag and get in there, get the woven mail. But no, you can use try Assassin's Cow.
Get good.
Grapple melee people. You go invisible, you get your health back, you have woven mail, you have everything. Like you have so much. And then if you're using like with the current artifact mods, if you're using anything that has volatile rounds and you use something with repulsor brace, you have woven mail, you have an overshield, you're going invisible, you're getting your health back on demand because you just need to melee someone or finish them and you go invisible and get your health back. Like you can be in the front lines smacking people up.
Well, our whole team was Strand on contest, all Strand hunters, except for me, basically. And I just switched over.
There were a lot of Strand hunters.
Yeah.
Strand did make the boarding action chasm jumping second encounter a lot more fun. I will say that.
I love how they've done like a lot of the environments you can do by jumping, but a lot of them you can shortcut with Strand now. Like all this seasonal content and everything. You're like, why would I not run Strand? I'm just gonna throw a tangle and get on in.
I see someone on our team using like Eager Edge, and I'm like, go on, Zippy, hurry up.
I kind of want them to put some balls in old content. You know, just like put them in like the old raids or in old dungeons and stuff like that. Just do like, oh, there's a floaty ball there. I can grapple to.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Grappling onto teammates, man. It's always fun. It's never not fun. Always a good time.
Yep.
Yes. Thunder Crash Titan be like, get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Is there anything in the TWAB we need to go over this week?
Probably. No, I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I would say there's a few things.
While I'm bringing it up, TV. Why don't you rant about PvP?
Yeah.
I already got that off my chest today. You're gonna make me relive my trauma.
A half-hour video. I was like, whoa.
I watched.
Listen. PvP sucks. It sucks. Listen, and it's like, okay, I get it. Bugs happen, but we got invisibility glitch that made PvP unplayable for 2 weeks, and they kept putting it on the back burner, saying we'll get to it when it matters. But you guys are kind of, the redheaded stepchild. We'll get to you when we do. So we had that. We had these like anteater bugs. A lot of people are getting these bugs where it's like you're in the middle of a gunfight, your screen goes black, it says anteater, and then you just respawn. You're like, I was fighting, but it doesn't kick you out of the game. It's real weird. Connection issues are happening. Team-based matchmaking isn't working properly because solos are matching stacks a lot, and it's not just me. Like a lot of people are reporting this. It's in shambles, and my kind of ultimate assessment of it all is that the reality is that Bungie decided to separate PvP from paid content. They said PvP is now free to play, but because it's not monetized and it doesn't make them money directly, at least, then it's on the back burner. That's just where it is. And we've kind of come to expect that, but it doesn't change the fact that it sucks, and it is a pain point for a PvP enthusiast when we used to, and this wasn't something that, it's not an unrealistic expectation. It's not something that we did. It's something Bungie did. They set the precedent. They used to ship out DLCs that delivered raids, strikes, new environments, PvE activities, exotic quests, and PvP maps. 3, 4, sometimes 5 of them. New game modes, sometimes 2 or 3 of them. New gear, reward systems, new armor sets, all of it. And we got nothing. We got a pulse rifle from year 1 from launch Destiny back, and it's really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really good pulse, but it is a year 1 pulse rifle. And they're like, there you go. You know what I mean? So a lot of PvP players are really just running out of patience.
We're sad. We're not even angry anymore. We're just sad.
It doesn't even feel like it's just getting neglected, though. It feels like it's actively getting worse. Like the PvP experience is actually getting worse.
That's why we said in chat, we were like, Bungie, go back to ignoring us. We don't need attention. It's fine. Just ignore us again. We were at least having fun a little bit.
Yeah.
A bit of fun.
And and I understand if you're on the outside looking in and you don't know the details. You've almost been conditioned to see PvP anger as unwarranted, salt, and your initial response is, get good. You just don't like SBMM. But what we are saying as a PvP community is, no, you don't understand. These systems are not working. It's not that we don't like playing people our own skill level. It's that the systems that they are implemented don't function properly, and it's ruining the overall experience. And the numbers validate that. They verify that, So it's a major pain point for a lot of people on the PvP side of the community. And it's been a challenge for a lot of them to really appreciate or enjoy the Lightfall experience, because I actually think that the PvE side of Lightfall is really fun. And I have had a blast playing the Lightfall DLC. Absolutely love it. And we've offered criticisms here on the show about it. It's not perfect, but overall, I like Lightfall. But PvP just continues to get completely and utterly neglected. And it wouldn't be so bad if we weren't constantly given promises.
Yeah.
And there are some promises that they have absolutely floundered and not followed through on and have not acknowledged. Like, yes, we will give you new armor sets every season. Every major DLC cycle, you're going to get full new armor sets. And that didn't happen. I mean, they followed through on that for like 1 year, one DLC, and then
it was like 1 year. Yeah.
And then they just kind of like hoped we would forget, and it's a lot of stuff like that. Went back when they made that promise that we are going to start we hear your feedback. This was a couple years ago. We hear your feedback. We understand maps are important to you. We're going to start giving you every single season. We're going to oscillate back and forth between a new map and a reprised map. New map, reprised map. How long did that last? 2 seasons. 2 seasons. And then done. And it's not acknowledged. We just hope that you'll forget. And so a lot of us are just kind of tired.
Seems like a lot of the PvP players have started to do like hardcore PvE content, because you're like grasping at straws here, trying to find something to play. I feel like I've noticed that more recently.
For sure, yeah. It's I think a lot of people, like, I know my friend is really upset at Mylan because he's playing the finals, and he really wants to play the finals because he's just grasping at any PvP game that comes out. It's like, please, dear God, please be fun. Please be fun.
A little bit this morning is pretty good.
Yeah, that's wild game.
Maybe. That's where we're going, everybody. You hear the memo? We're going over there.
Mass migration.
But I also hear this thing a lot where it's like, well, isn't Bungie working on this PvP game? Maybe that's what they're doing, is they're kind of just chugging along with PvP and Destiny, and they're making this PvP game that's just that. But if rumors are correct, we don't know if they are, they're all just rumors, this is going to be like a Tarkov extraction shooter. There is a reason why Destiny 2 players continue to play Destiny 2 and haven't fully moved to Apex or Fortnite or any of these other games, because they like the arena shooter feel of like OG shooters, right? This is what OG shooters were like. Tarkov type game is not going to make Destiny 2 PvP players go yay, because it is a niche category, and there's going to be a ton of people that are that's just not their thing.
It's so weird that it feels like a dying breed.
It does.
Yeah. Like arena shooter players?
Yeah.
Counter-Strike.
Well, it is.
And not only that, but
Counter-Strike is huge now. It's still huge. It remains huge.
But you also have to think, how many hardcore PvPers who have played Destiny and know the trajectory of the PvP experience in Destiny, how many of them are going to have enough faith in Bungie to say, yes, I'm going to try out your new game? Because we've been burned. How do you expect your dedicated players to trust you with a new IP?
Are you talking about like the rumor that like they're working on like a PvP game?
Yeah. Well, it's not really a rumor. Well,
we know they're working on
a PvP game. That's not a rumor. Okay. The rumor is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you think though, like just the fact that it's like a focused PvP experience is somewhat encouraging for PvP players who like Bungie games? Like, it's not a split experience like Destiny, where, if I only like the PvP of Destiny, I'm going to be sad every time there's a big PvE update and there's no PvP update. This is a PvP game.
Maybe people will be excited about that. It really does depend on the genre, like we were talking about. Like Watts said, not all Destiny players, like, we have extraction shooters. If that's what we wanted to play, there are really good, well-supported extraction shooters out there. If that's what we wanted, that's where we would be. You know what I mean? So it really does depend on the product that they're delivering.
It's also like, for a lot of us, we really did fall in love with doing PvE, getting loot and taking it into PvP and grinding the PvE to do that. And there's not really another game that does that. And Bungie themselves in the state of game, Joe said that PvP is sticking around and it's an important thing to them. We just kind of need to see that.
Just need them to prove it. But
and I'd be happy to pay for it. I would be more than happy for like a PvP season pass or something. And
but my concern is that like the finish line's right there. You know what I mean? Like now or never was last year, as far as you know what I mean. So I don't know how much they can accomplish in terms of PvP in that short time frame before they're moving on to the next phase of whatever Destiny is. I don't know.
When do you reckon we'll hear about this new IP?
God, I don't know.
Another 5 years at least.
This year?
They could just drop it, like Apex.
They could.
Pull a Nintendo, and it's out.
By the way, Metroid Prime, baby, here you go.
They honestly probably could, because it's Bungie. They have a big name behind them. They've made obviously Halo before, so dropping a PvP centric game could go well with them just dropping it.
That would be cool.
Have they said that they're splitting developmental resources on this new PvP game?
They have not said that. No,
they haven't.
That's kind of what it feels like to me.
No, they haven't like officially said it. I think it's what people said, and like you said, Jay, it's what it kind of feels like. But like, there's developers that move from Destiny onto those games, and then they obviously replace them. It's not a split focus.
Makes sense.
And there's still that Tencent deal too that they did forever ago, right?
Mobile game.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Could be a mobile game coming. It would make sense for them to make a mobile game, because they would just print money and then they can support all their other games.
I'm a sucker for mobile games for sure.
Oh my God, I just downloaded the Street Fighter game.
Dude, I'm so addicted.
Fucking bad. It is the worst video game.
But I love it.
Oh, it's terrible. It's so terrible.
It's like AFK Arena.
Imagine playing Street Fighter, but you don't get to control your characters. You just get to watch.
There is a manual mode, and when you get to later stuff, you have to do more of that. But yeah, it's different. It's less hands-on for sure.
Sort of unrelated. Jay, what's been sort of the general reaction towards Lightfall from your community? Are people really vibing with it?
Yeah,
do you find people's excitement levels and energy levels are up?
For the most part, yeah. People are really excited, like you guys were talking about the exotic quests and stuff like that. People have really been enjoying. The question that I get a lot, and it's pretty much every Destiny DLC, and I'm sure you guys get this question too, is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And my response is like, I can't answer that for you, but on a scale of money to hours that are there, absolutely worth value. It is worth it. But if you're not putting the time in, if you don't like the game, if you don't like how it feels, then you're not going to put the hours in, and then it's not worth it. So that's a personal decision. But
also
for the
depends
most
on
part,
how you interact, right? Like if you only interact with the story and then you're out, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah,
but if you're gonna go do all the stuff, then I mean the hours.
Our community is pretty chill and we don't have a lot of extreme rage opinions or anything like that going on generally, but we TV, you were doing a lot of saying this at the beginning, like you can see both sides, and we try to do that too. Like we want to respect the PvP crowd and the feedback, and as long as it's constructive and things like that, we try to add to it and brainstorm and try to help out. But when people just are coming in and just spouting off nonsense, it's like, all right, we can't really, there's nothing there for us.
I've been banned in his chat for 3 years.
Fucking Briar. They put him in the game.
Should we do Twitter questions?
We need to do TWAB.
Oh, right.
Like,
TWAB. I thought we did the TWAB. I forgot. What's the TWAB?
That was so Watts could bring the TWAB up. She asked TV to rant about PvP.
Hey, good news is Michael's sidearm is very cool and it's nice and it goes.
I love that thing.
I love it. I'll be using it tomorrow, hopefully.
What's the role you're vibing with?
I want a tap the trigger one, but I can't get it. It's drop, and I still need 2 more red borders.
I don't.
So I've been using one
like 100 spoils to get that one.
Oh man, yeah. I've been using one with hatchling just because if I see my hatchling wander off towards an enemy, I'm like, I'm also gonna wander off towards the enemy because that's like having a buddy with me. So I have been enjoying hatchling. Hatchling and Perfect Float. And Perfect Float, I think a lot of people think that it's just for AE, but it reduces flinch.
Yeah,
when
the
you're
flinch
in
is a
combat.
big deal.
So it's actually pretty good. So the TWAB, we have some cool stuff. We have the Art of Lightfall, which is a developer insight on art. So check that out if you would.
That was cool. Watch.
It is cool, and you get to kind of see like the first concept of a Cloud Strider,
which was kind of hardcore, like the big mini guns.
Yeah.
I was like, we could have had that. Maybe give us one of them like that.
Maybe one of them gets resurrected via Nezarek's nightmare heebie-jeebies and comes with the guns.
Yep. Yeah, exactly that.
Guardian ranks were updated. They updated the commendations requirements because they were massive. So I won't go through all the numbers because there's a few numbers, but they lowered it. Less commendations. So I did.
Which is good because at the end of a PvP match, I have to like hustle. Like I can't look at my own score. I gotta like hustle to get people's commendations out. Yeah. Before looking at my own score.
I'm sad at what commendations.
Go ahead. Yeah, it makes me sad as well.
It's turned into an automatic feedback system as opposed to a heartfelt, there's no time to give them to begin with. And then just tying them.
You can't be thoughtful about it.
Yeah, tying them with triumphs and different things was.
I don't hate their implementation, but it's definitely supposed to be a thing of like, oh, this guy popped off, or this guy was like always rezzing me. That's really nice. Or this guy made a bunch of, whatever. And you're like, I want to say that you did this thing. Whereas now it's like, gotta commend, just bring up the menu, boop, boop. And you don't think
the idea had merit for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then they talk about Vexcalibur. They talk about Trials of Osiris coming tomorrow. They did clarify on Twitter that they are not adding SBMM to Trials because people were wondering if they were going to, because they said we're changing matchmaking. So we're like, that means one thing and one thing only. But no, they're not adding that. And they've also removed the freelance node, and they're doing fire team based matchmaking. So technically, you should be able to load into Trials as a solo player and get other solo players or a 2-team.
Get that hot carry from 2 randos.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So I do want to give that a go tomorrow and see how that feels and see kind of the teams that I'm matchmaking.
So got the SMG and Astral Horizon coming back. So Astral Horizon Reprise Shotgun obviously was a big fan favorite and very good kinetic aggressive shotty for sure. So you're going to want to get your hands on that. The new SMG is Strand 750. Yep. Right? 750?
It is 750, and it's looking like it's technically going to be
like
the best SMG in the game.
Really?
Looking like a hottie.
Really?
Yeah,
I was just watching a video today. Was it Fallout talking about that Achilles 3 SMG?
Oh.
Is it going to be better than that?
It's statistically going to be like the best in the game.
Wow.
Perk-wise and just stat-wise, it's looking
pretty juicy. Yeah, good strand build integration for PvE for sure. Good just raw dueling potential for PvP. A lot going on there.
Okay. Woven Mail is actually kind of nice in the SMG meta because people are more likely to hit body shots. So, keeps you a little safe. Iron Banner is returning next week. And I got to say, I'm not playing week 3. Who's with me? Let me read what their plans are. So
I'm excited about Bite of the Fox.
Yeah, I do actually really like Bite of the Fox. I do really like that sniper. It takes a little bit to get used to. It's one of those snipers that you usually can't just whip out and like get used to it. But if you do become accustomed to it, it's pretty good. Feels nice. It does a lot of damage. But they're planned for Iron Banner, so they're not doing a new mode this time. They're instead going to do their previously new modes across the 3 weeks of Iron Banner that happen in a season. So the first is going to be traditional control Iron Banner for the first week. Second week's going to be Eruption. And third week is Fortress, which is with the Cabal turrets. You remember the Cabal turrets.
Listen, I'm going to play Fortress this time, and there's one reason for it. I bowed out the last 2 times, but this time I'm going to do it. Because I got the Raid Exotic Shotgun, and it absolutely craps on bubbles. It's
I'm
hilarious.
gonna need that.
Hilarious.
You know what you might be able to do as well? You might be able to grapple melee them out of the bubble. If you don't die before you do it.
Oh, like like hit them, knock them back out of it.
Because it does push people around. So it does also say that you'll be getting 50% more rep, which we've heard about, like adding the emblem and the changes they're making with that. Yoram's Claw Pulse Rifle. I assume it's Yoram or Jorm.
I think we call it Joram. I don't know.
Jorm.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yoram.
Is it new or returning?
It's reprised, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm Bite of the Fox.
But it can get like rangefinder headseeker, so it has some potential.
That's good.
That Raid shotgun just looks like a Ethernet cable to me.
It looks like a Borderlands gun. It's mega cool.
Cable.
Yeah, it's mega cool.
I want it. I don't even use shotguns.
Although I will say this, if you don't have it yet, I think they forgot to update some stuff on it. Like the numbers are completely wrong. Like if you look at the stats of the gun in real time in the game, it's like, yeah, it's got a 5-round magazine. Like, no, it doesn't. It's a double barrel shotgun. What are you talking about? It's like this thing fires at 165 rounds per minute. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It fires like 50. It's like not 50. It's the aggressive frame shotgun RPM. So like the slowest. It's like, no, it doesn't do that. What are you talking about?
Did you get that on your first clear?
I got it on my third. Okay. I got very lucky. So we did on our second clear, we banged out as many triumphs as we could and redeemed them before dropping the final boss. That way it would up our chances, of getting the exotic to drop. And it worked for me. So that's like such a breath of fresh air for me, because Valve the Disciple took me 87 clears to get Collective Obligation.
Were they all looted?
Yep. Yep. It hurt me. I didn't get my review of that gun out until like 3 weeks before Lightfall came out.
Perfect, just in time.
Yeah. So I was really happy. My wife heard me hooting and hollering in my office when it dropped. She's like, I'm a fairly stoic person, so she's like, something's going on in there. I need to check it out.
That's a good feeling, though. Like we take that feeling for granted sometimes. I feel like we get frustrated when we don't get something, but then when we do, it's like, woohoo! You know.
Yeah, I was
not having that is
very happy about it.
Have you guys ever had your wife come into your office or place of gaming and say, "You need to quiet down. The kids are sleeping"?
I get texts in the middle of the night.
I don't anymore because we did that.
Mylan must have, right? It's gotta be a shut up Mylan, right?
My last one was pretty soundproof, to be honest.
Yeah. We did our addition, and we made my office in the basement, in the farthest corner away from the children's bedrooms.
That's smart.
Oh yeah.
Do you have them walk in and you're doing something silly? I know Mylan's done this, where your partner's walked in, you're doing something ridiculous, and they're just looking at you like, "The hell are you doing? What's going on? Why do you have spoons in your hand?"
My answer to that question every time is porn.
The funniest thing was Mylan's like screaming at Mario Kart, and Danny comes walking in, and he's just like, "Oh."
Funniest time, I called my brother, or maybe he called me. I'm like, "Yeah, how's your day going?" He's like, "Yeah, your general work day stuff." And I'm like, "So anyway, I was playing Mario Kart because I've had a real bad day today."
See, I'm the opposite. Like I said, I'm fairly stoic. My wife is very animated, but she's also a gamer. And so her gaming room is on the other side of this door and around the corner. So sometimes I'll be doing raids with the guys off stream. We're just raiding. And they'll just start cracking up. I can't hear anything with these headphones on. They're like noise canceling. But they will hear her like swearing and screaming and hollering and like, "TV, what is going on with your wife?" Like, "Oh, I don't know. I should check on her."
That's great.
She's been playing a lot of Sons of the Forest, which is like a horror survival game.
Mm-hmm. So I get.
So that's like every night. Oh yeah. So it's like every night she's it's great.
The rest of the 12, there's really not much in there besides a lot of known issues, some fixing on Twitch drop emblems and stuff. There's really cool art. Really cool art. And there was a very good video about Among Us and Destiny, which was very well done. Honestly, every single art or video this week was a banger. They were funny. They were great. So good. I love the picture of Disciples in terms of Chadness. You got Rolk and you got Nezarek, and then Callus with his little bunny teeth and just looking up like,
I'm part of the team.
I'm helping.
True.
Somebody fill my cup.
Have any of the disciples not betrayed the what's his name?
The witness?
Darkness guy? The witness. Have they all betrayed him?
No, only Zavathun.
Only Zavathun? Wait, I
Yeah,
thought Rolk
Nezarek
had
didn't
done it.
want to.
Nezarek
No.
didn't want to? I thought Rolk.
No, Rolk
did.
was
No.
hardcore disciple.
Oh, okay, my bad.
There was hints that we thought Nezarek was going to have some sort of betrayal involved, but nothing's really come about it yet.
Okay.
I have a quick question about that. So the witness wants to end pain, right? Like that's the witness's goal, to end pain by like destroying the world or something. I don't know.
Kill everything, and then they don't feel
So,
anything
that's
anymore.
a nice way of doing it,
It's
man.
probably
That's what-
related to
It's
the
Attack
veil.
on Titan.
Who knows?
He's Eren Yeager.
Okay.
So, but Nezarek loves pain and torment. He doesn't want it to end. So he wants to team up with us to stop the witness and then go on tormenting.
I don't know what's. I don't know.
Tormentors on our side.
Answers, Mylan. I demand.
I need
them.
answers immediately.
I'm not sure, to be honest, about the whole.
Maybe I'm still holding on hope that he's going to be our friend eventually. Not friend as in like, your friend, but like enemy of my enemy kind of
Like a frenemy?
deal. Yeah.
Dad
Yeah.
bod and Nezarek.
Although Savathun's probably more likely to help us out.
I think so.
And Savathun don't like Nezarek. He's not a fan.
Twitter questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Fazimoto says, what does being a thoughtful and or joyful blueberry mean to you?
You rezzed me.
The
You didn't run
combination.
past me as I was dead. You didn't just ignore my dead body. You revived me. That's nice. I appreciate
we
that.
We don't call them blueberries. We call them rank sixes,
Oh.
or just the sixes.
I'm gonna be rank 6 literally forever.
The
Yeah, I wanna be
sixes.
a
I'm not
for a
leveling
while.
up. Yeah, I'm sixer for life, baby.
So I was like, oh, I have one more thing left to do. I just need to do a solo flawless law sector. And then it was like, get 8 billion kills with the bow. And I was like, no, stop it.
Our
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
Also, side tangent. You know,
Do it.
PvP is not involved in Guardian ranks at all.
No, I didn't know that. Not at all.
Mhm.
Like,
Not even.
Listen,
You know
Wes,
what
I'm
what
not-
it is?
I'm not trying to get worked up 3 times in one day. Okay?
You know what it is, Briar? You have to talk to Shax and talk to Satan. That's it. That's your
Oh.
PvP
That's-
content for Guardian ranks.
Perfect for me.
that's weird.
You know, I just feel like if Guardian ranks is supposed to represent your knowledge of Destiny, the game, and your experience in the game, that it should probably represent more than just PvE.
Well, maybe they realize
What?
that they haven't added anything to PvP in like 6 years, so they're like, well, kind of forcing people to
But
do
they
old-ass
changed
content.
the entirety of PvP for people who don't like PvP to like PvP.
Did
That's
it
a
work,
good
Watts?
point.
Apparently.
I don't know,
I
Jay.
don't
You
think
playing any PvP?
not in a long time. No.
Yeah, didn't work.
I was gonna say though,
working.
with the blueberry question, not getting yeeted into walls would probably be my answer. But
Not actively trying to murder you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
That
pretty
counts
high.
me out.
Listen,
happens
if
a
you
lot.
don't, as a teabagger or as a PvP player, if you don't teabag me, if you don't bag me, you're not getting accommodation.
As a
So I had
fellow
a-
teabagger, I don't like it.
Listen, how am I supposed to know that you appreciate me, love me, and respect me if you don't drop it like it's hot on my body every time I die?
That's a good question. I don't know. Dreadnought says, when is the appropriate time to shoot your shot at someone who just had a recent breakup?
Well,
Wait,
left
fire
turn.
in
Never.
there.
Probably just, you know.
Exactly the moment where they are 100% comfortable with the fact that they had a breakup. I don't know. You read the context.
before
they
the other
grieving?
person does it, I don't know. Like,
I was just waiting for them, maybe, to, if they're interested, they'll probably let you know. If they're interested, they will let you know, by the way. They will. This isn't an anime where you go on for 8 seasons where they don't even hold hands, okay? This is real life. Unless you're 12. I don't know.
Some people are really bad at reading signs, Watts.
What if they just go, I like you?
I'm going to be honest, I like you.
They were like, yeah, I like you too. You got a really good book collection. Your taste in music's pretty nice. Yeah,
what's being honest like? I've not experienced that ever.
If you are a lazy person, which I am, being honest is a lot less work.
That's so much easier.
That was a fact. You don't have to remember any lies that you told. You just keep telling the truth, and you're good.
You ain't gotta keep anything straight.
Yeah.
I guess being honest isn't the right term. It's being like forthright to potential romantic folks.
Sure. Yeah,
that's true in almost every context too. It's like when you're at work, if you fuck up and you just like immediately admit it, like people are mad at you a little bit, but they appreciate that you just like kind of came out and said, I messed this up, and you know what I mean. But if you try and hide it, and then like that gets found out, like it just turns into a big snowballing piece of shit that you don't want any part of.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Because then you're also dealing with the break of trust, right? You're not just dealing with like the thing that happened. You're then dealing with the fact that it was hidden up, which is a whole other layer of.
Right, the lie can be worse than the fuck up, right?
It can be, yeah.
God, my wife just got mad at me because she thought I was lying to her. What did she think I was lying to her about? I forgot. I wasn't lying, though.
Being a Nezarek lover.
Yes, I could definitely handle these shots, hon. No problem.
So that was a freaking lie.
Yeah, that was a lie.
I can do the opposite, right? This is Mine's advice. Just lie, get a screenshot of a rank 7 Guardian, send him a picture of that and said, what do you reckon?
Yeah, just
rank 7 is now low, Mylan. Okay, you're out of date. You need to be like 9 to be keeping up
rank
with the cool
8 then.
I totally forgot. I brain farted today. I was running a battlegrounds and I saw this guy with a 7 over. So I was like, "Oh, look, he's so cute." And I was like, "Oh,
level 7 Guardian."
Well, hold up.
You're like, "Wait, I'm the cute one." Oh no.
That's right.
Put all the 9s next to me, and it'll be fine.
Toby says, question for Briar, how does it feel to officially have a gun named after you, and will you hunt a god roll? I would like to hunt a god roll. It would be nice to make this like my gun, right? Like the gun I use the most. Yeah. But honestly, I would like to go way back to 3rd grade. Mrs. Hall, my English teacher, my homeroom teacher, who thought I was a complete piece of shit. Look at me now, you bitch.
He was absolutely right.
Look at me now.
Hungover on a podcast.
You wish you could be like
me. But we can raid with you, Briar. We can get it done.
Yeah, I'm in. I couldn't do it this week because I was too busy being a birthday boy.
Well, you could have been a raid birthday boy. We could get you drunk.
That's true. I do like drinking and raiding.
You literally don't have to do anything this raid. Like you can just run around.
That is the perfect spot for me.
Just show up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's plan it. Javerino says, where do y'all get your Vex milk? What % do you drink?
Whole.
Yeah.
Whole?
We don't mess around
here. It's a little spicy
really?
when it goes down, because it's super electric.
No, there's not been a 2% jug of milk in my house in over a decade.
Wow. I don't think about it at all. Like, what percentage milk I have, I don't even consider it. If I go to buy milk, I just grab the one that's closest.
I've got 2 kids, Jay. Yeah. If there's no milk in this house, society will cease to function.
The dad's answer to do we need milk is always yes. Just get the milk. If
just get it,
sells it, buy it.
That's right,
because you need it. Ace Dog says, "Hey, did the Nezzy's body get distorted when the Traveler accidentally resurrected it? Wait, was that even an accident? Was it an accident or not?"
I'm not totally convinced it's not. I'm not totally convinced it's an accident.
There's no shot. That giant sword, impaled him directly. There's no way that was an accident.
It would seem like bad writing if it's a coinkydink, right? Yeah, because Who has a good shot like that? Nobody.
But it's like, to what purpose did it happen then? If he did it on purpose, why?
The Traveler forced our hand. We took care of
Killing him again? I mean, what's the net
For the
result
time
of what we
being,
did?
he's subdued. For the time being, he's subdued.
But he was subdued
Nightmare
before.
stop.
He's gonna do. Oh, he's not gonna do. I thought he could still do the nightmare stuff.
He was messing with the people on Neomuna, and according to the ink blot that we got afterwards,
that stopped.
That's been subdued for now.
Okay.
We just got to keep resurrecting him and killing him so we can.
Maybe in 1,000 years we got to kill him again. I don't know, but for now we kind of pushed him back a little bit.
And his body looked like that because I don't know. The witness likes lobsters or something.
He's bloated. Yeah, gassy.
Yeah,
he did. I like that there's a relatable.
Get resurrected. Babies are a bit. Baby Billy.
If you took a dad with skinny legs and made him into an alien, it would be Nezarek.
Literally, he's literally Johnny Bravo, the disciple. Tell me I'm wrong though.
That's pretty spot on. Lone Wolf says, I don't know. Does he poop?
I just mean, does he have a dump? Does he,
got
dump trunk?
Yeah. Does he got a trunk?
He's got fairy wings.
I haven't looked.
He's got fairy wings.
He got a petite little.
He is a fairy.
Lone Wolf says, now that both Callus and Nezarek are dead as well, would you guys say that Gaul and Rolk were just overall better villains, at least from a writing perspective? Callus could have been so much more with so little screen time, and Nezarek's writing just felt cringeworthy, at least to me.
Nezarek's lore is actually really good.
Yeah, Nezarek's
probably
lore
my
is
favorite
good,
lore out of all of them.
On-screen, is the on-screen story good?
We talked about this.
I like his in-game dialogue, to be honest.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah, and we talked about Callus a couple weeks ago, the first week of Lightfall.
You convinced me of that. Yeah,
I actually really liked his arc because his arc is a downward spiral. It's not an upward climax to this coup de grace moment. His is a downward spiral where his life has just gone down in the dumps, and he thinks this is his last. Everything that he threw away was for this, and it ended up being, you're just being used, bro.
Yeah, you sold me on that too, because I was kind of disappointed, but I think
I love his arc. Yeah, personally,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, Callus, I gotta say, I think he's the best villain we've ever had in this game. He's lasted for so long. He's been so fun.
He's good. And I think it's good to have a variation in the villains we fight, right? Not just one that gains power, and then we take out. Having one that has been powerful and we've dealt with and kind of throws it all away for this last ditch effort of power, and it's just like, no one cares about you.
Callus's really cool stuff wasn't all hidden in lore too. He was like in the game, like you're like getting stuff in the game, like story from the game. A lot of it too.
Yeah, I mean, just think about like the post-credit scene of Callus, like when you defeat the raid and you realize there's all the clone robots there. Like he had a cool,
that was amazing.
He had like a post-credit scene really in a raid to introduce Callus. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then his stories
a lot of raids
there.
True. Yeah.
Alkaline says, since Strand is about strings, what is your favorite string instrument to listen to? I'm torn between guitar and violin. Guitar
I'm
is
a sucker for a good ukulele or a mandolin. Fun. Love a good mandolin.
Yeah, that is good time. And they're incredibly talented, like good ukulele and mandolin players.
Sure.
I think anyone who plays any instrument's talented because I'm useless.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I like watching Tefty and memes videos where they're just like making music, and it's like, oh, this is fascinating.
What is this?
So impressive. Like, I don't even understand how you're doing this. You're just hitting buttons on these machines, and this beautiful sound is coming out.
When you read that question, my first image was my 4th grade self trying to play the violin, and it was terrible.
Yeah. I'm surprised they gave you such a good instrument. I had a recorder, like a little plastic recorder.
We all started with a recorder, all of us.
Oh, they do that in the US too? Do you guys all have recorders?
Oh, yeah. I started on keyboards, actually.
Really?
I love that,
Percussion class. So you did band though, like moving forward. Maybe
yeah, I was like
natural
percussion,
aptitude
drumming.
early in.
Yeah, I was a band geek too.
Yeah.
I did piano. My parents put me on piano lessons like as soon as I was out of diapers.
Oh.
I did piano lessons for like, I don't know, like probably 6 or 7 years.
Can you still play?
And then, yeah, I used to do all the keyboard stuff for the church I was at, but I haven't done that in maybe 2 years now.
You ever go in after hours and play with the organ like all like Fan of the Opera style?
Oh yeah, I had the keys to the place. I'd go. Oh yeah. But yeah.
I gotta say, my favorite is shamisen.
I'm sorry?
Shamisen. Shamisen. The instrument. The shamisen, the instrument.
I'm uneducated on that.
I cannot understand the words coming out of your mouth.
Oh, show us.
It is I guess a traditional Japanese instrument. They've done a lot of mixture with like shamisen and rock, shamisen and different kind of modern music, and it is very, very good. It's very good. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I've got a very
So
plain answer, but I like a bass
Okay.
guitar. I just like the bass
Bass
line, you know? And when somebody's doing something real
and
funky,
bass players are always the cool ones.
Yeah. Bass makes your
Yeah.
hips move, you know what I mean?
You have hips?
I was born without hips, so I don't know about that.
You put a bass around Briar, he just starts wiggling.
Yeah.
Noted.
Dave Mullins says, not all of Callus turned into a tree when he died at the end of the campaign. Have we seen the last of him, or will they pull an Aramis? Oh, that'd be awesome if he came back.
No.
If he came back and with his little bucket head with his little rabbit teeth, but like the red body.
Yeah, Dave actually included a picture of what he's referring to, and he looks dead as hell. Like, he looks super
Yeah, he looked dead.
I think he's pretty dead.
I just like the way they wrapped up his arc so much that I would be disappointed if they brought him back, unless they went real hard with it. Like Callus back with a vengeance. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he dead.
I think he gone.
Yeah.
Cobalt says, what's the best way to eat a banana? That's a good question.
Without peeling it.
Yeah.
Whole.
Rind and all.
Yep.
That's where you get all the fiber. Why are you skipping out all that fiber? You paid for it. You just gonna throw it away?
You eat the bottle when you drink your Coke too?
Yeah, that's where the protein is.
Just eat it all in one bite.
For years I'd always heard about opening the banana from the other side, right? Not the stem side. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I continued to do it from the stem side. But when I finally like pinched it from the bottom, like it really is a game changer. Like it's so much better. Like it's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah. Like you kind of instead of like tearing at the stem, you kind of just
fucking
pinch
Friday.
and
I can't take this.
That's how I felt too. But I'm here to tell you, it was pretty good.
I watched a TikTok of somebody breaking it in half. I was like,
TikTok isn't a ridiculous place. I see pictures of like people putting like 5 gallons of ice cream and stuff in a bowl, and then
that's not where I thought you were going with that.
I think you were gonna say ice cream. Briar's on lube TikTok. That's where he's at. He's on lube TikTok. His For You page is just blasters.
I think bananas are my favorite fruit.
They're good.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're bangers, no doubt.
They're good.
Texture sucks, but they're good for your body.
No, texture's awesome.
Mushy.
Yeah.
Ugh. I eat them because I have to, because I know they're good for me.
Banana hater.
I'm a sucker for like blackberries and raspberries.
Yeah, those are good too. Have you guys noticed that blueberries have gotten bigger? Like they're like huge.
They are bigger.
Maybe you're just getting smaller.
You started your shrinking arc.
I am getting older.
I just realized Jess78 in chat reminded me that there was an Amanda Holiday ink block cutscene this week.
Oh, there was?
That's
What
true.
was it? I didn't see it.
Oh, tells the
Yeah, it's
story.
just a
of Amanda.
backstory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's quite
That's a
good.
story we knew already, right?
Yeah.
I think we knew that. I heard chaperone shots going off in the background. Pew pew. Parrots died. I'm a pilot.
Did
There
she
you
shoot Crow again?
No.
No, not this week.
Not
bad.
this week. Maybe next week.
She's giving him the cold shoulder. She's all like buddy.
Yeah,
buddy
'cause
with
he killed
Mithrax
Cade.
now.
Yeah,
Remember that
It
when he
would be
shot
hard.
Cade in the face?
It would be hard to look at a guy's flirting with you and you're like, this is the same person I saw that killed my friend. It's
Right.
a little difficult. All right. It's a little
Yeah.
difficult to know that the murder happened and it
Sue
wasn't
me for
you,
holding the
but
grudge.
it was. No. I get it. And then she did say crawdaddy. Yeah, which is where I immediately tweeted at Patrick saying,
Yeah.
Patrick, what have you done to the narrative team? And he had no idea what was going on. Apparently, supposedly. I know, that's what I'm saying. Why would anyone else
Allegedly.
use crawdaddy? It's Patrick for sure. But now Mithrax and Amanda are going to be a loving couple. That's what
You
I
think so? That's where we're going.
Let's hope so.
I don't know. I ship him and Devram. Devram's
True.
learning his language.
I just
We
wanna know
learned that.
That's pretty
physically how
good.
that works.
Yeah, we learned that this week that the Devram's having extended conversations with Mithrax to learn Elixir.
That's dope. I want to learn Elixir.
Devram's cool.
Devram's great.
Yeah. He's just like cool.
We need more Devram.
He's the Sir Hammerlock of Destiny.
He is the Queen's Guard. I'm telling you.
Sam says, what reason other than being threatened with cannibalism did Briar finally get to being a disciple of the final god of pain? Personally, I think his neighbor was with the perfect lawn put the toilet paper on the wrong way of the holder. Yo, that does drive me fucking crazy. Like, why take the
I
fucking
switch it
extra
every
second.
time.
I do
Unless
too.
you have a cat.
You know what? I do
Unless you have
too.
a cat.
Like out of spite, I'm like, I'm not gonna allow this to happen in my
Do you
house.
do it? Do you do it at other people's houses?
No,
Oh, I do.
no, I don't go to other people's houses, Brian.
Yeah, you know Brian does.
I can't
I
remember
think
the last time
I
I
think
went to
it's the
someone
funniest
else's
fucking
house.
thing. Go to other people's houses and switch the fucking toilet paper around.
You do also tilt people's paintings. You go around just like slightly tilting everything.
No, that'd be funny though. I should.
My Brian's like, tilt paintings, remove toilet paper.
I have this thing where if a rug is even slightly crooked in a room, whether it's my room, someone else's room, or a public space,
gotta
I
fix
have
it.
to fix it. It drives me crazy.
I got to do that too. My family shares no such compunction. They are fine with the rug being like,
Savages.
yeah, exactly. There's
I
a reason.
understand you, Brian.
There's a reason that I carry my own toilet paper around the house like a fucking prison convict. It's because nobody in my house has any worry about replacing the toilet paper when they're done. They're savages.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
This is why I've joined a
It's tough.
cult.
It's tough having toddlers.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Jot Little Dick says, what are your guys' plans post Final Shape? Hoping they continue the Destiny universe or tackling your backlog games, if any.
We know they're continuing.
Yeah,
They've
we know
said
they're
multiple times that this isn't the end of Destiny, it's just the end of a saga. We just don't know where we're going.
I sure hope they hit the ground running, or I'm going to be out of a job.
It's going to be a PvP game. We're going to turn around and go, suck it, losers.
Don't you
And
do
they're gonna-
this to me.
Do we think that's when they're gonna like relegate the Xbox One and PS4 situation?
I would assume so.
It's got to happen eventually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's time too, right? Like
Been longer than D1 was.
Yeah, about
Yeah,
time
but-
to hit that old dusty trail.
the PS5, like the scarcity situation for the PS5, I think, makes it a little harder. Also, $500 for a console is expensive. It's hard to say.
Well, I mean, the Series S's are only like what, $250 nowadays?
Yeah, but that's only like half a console. It's like my first console.
An Xbox 1.5.
It's like a Fisher Price console. I'm just kidding. It's fucking cool. I want one actually.
We have one, yeah.
I want
Kids
to put a bunch of emulators on it and put it down in the living room.
Of course you do.
Mad Geek says, for the average player, how important is the extra slot in the Artifice armor? Is it more important than high stat armor, since many seem to be seeing less than 61 drops. Would
You
you
don't
do
have to pick between
anything
the two.
different from Bungie for the armor itself or how to obtain it so that more players try for it?
Yeah,
it's
they
not
should
one or
put
the
Artifice
other.
armor in Trials and Comp.
There you go.
You know, why not?
Artifice armor is too good to pass up, y'all, because you get the
It's
high
really
stat
good.
rolls and you get the extra +3. So
It's really
across
good.
5 pieces of armor, you're looking at +15 stat points. It'd be crazy to pass that up if you have the opportunity to go get some. Go get some.
Jeff Kirby says, where did Tef go? And does he no longer stream? I feel like I missed him. Tefty hasn't streamed in a long time. But True Vanguard killed Tefty and has taken his spot. And that's why you no longer see him.
I ate his beard and absorbed his power.
That's how that works.
And now he plays the guitar.
It's science.
Yeah.
Tefty's taking a break. He'll be back.
Yeah, Tefty is very, 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 very busy right now and just has no time to do really anything at all. Yeah, he's infiltrating the kindergarten. He's got to find out all the kid drugs. So yeah, hopefully he will be coming back as soon as possible. But just know that he wants to come back. He has no plans on leaving. He's just very busy at the moment.
Violet Witch Queen says, Dad Bod Nezarek or Rolk, the bulk disciple of the fitness? Who wins in an all-out 1v1? I guess I think Rolk has got to take this, right?
Yeah, Rolk.
I think so.
Rolk is very zippy.
I don't know. You can't underestimate old man strength.
That's true too.
That is true. He does move fast for that dad bod.
He leaps in the air. You know, he teleports. He does teleport.
Mm-hmm. But he went out like a bitch.
Little...
He did go out like a bitch, though, right?
Rolk like wiped the whole planet. Like,
yeah. But what did Nezarek do? He caused a collapse, right? He was the leader of the collapse.
I mean, there's no doubt in his power, but he's also, he, by his own admission, he's like a fragment of his former power.
That's true.
He ain't even.
He's like, I'd kick your ass if I was young again.
If I was with my fire team, my stack, I'd kick your butt.
Take their weapons away, and who
y'all didn't steal all my body parts, you fucking crazy people.
Creepers. Freaking weirdos.
Some Zelda Triforce action.
He is nuts. Rolk isn't as nuts as Nezarek. Nezarek is like full on, he's a crazy person.
Oh, I don't know. Rolk is sort of quietly, he's that quiet sociopath.
That's more intimidating, actually.
He's freaking scary.
Ones, yeah, they are scary.
I mean, he's sitting there. He's like, man, what am I gonna do with your? I got some ideas of things I'm gonna do to your ghost after I kill you. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, he's not like loud and abrasive, like, haha, challenging.
Yeah.
Nezarek is kind of that guy who's all talking and gets knocked out in
and
the
his
first
family.
Punch.
Rolk like murdered his whole family, didn't he?
He did murder his family as well. Yeah. He did also whip out the whatever bone from the Uzawatits.
Subdued the worm god.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't remember that part of the story.
Yeah, he ripped out the bone of the Uzawatits.
What's your verdict, Mylan? Who takes the cake there?
Yeah,
Rolk.
Yeah.
Or Nezarek.
Because Nezarek didn't finish the job.
He's just in your
Nezarek
brain
didn't
going,
finish the job. Rolk killed his whole planet.
Yeah, that's true.
We lived.
Yeah.
Nezarek
Thanks
got
to
clapped.
Sabbath, dude. God bless her.
Mm-hmm.
Nezarek's like, I'm reborn. I'm dead.
This Week in Video Games says, given Bungie added a raid linear fusion rifle called Briar's Contempt, what would you like your raid weapon to be called, and what weapon type would it be?
Obviously a sidearm. Just bring back Dreg's Promise and you don't even have to do any work. It's just right there.
It looks like a potato.
I want it to be a sidearm, and it's going to be called TV's purse gun.
I like that. That's good.
I feel like mine's way too obvious, but I'm going to add a twist. It needs to not have aim assist with controller for sniper.
Oh.
It'll be just called Jay's Brick. Kobe! Oh, missed again.
Speaking of podcasts, actually, one of my favorite podcasts is a podcast called what's it called? It's called Accidental Tech Podcast, And there's a Destiny player on that podcast. It's not a podcast about Destiny. It's a podcast about like tech stuff. But one of my favorite guys on that podcast is a huge Destiny fan. And the only YouTuber he watches is True Vanguard. So
For real?
yeah. So like, one of my favorite podcasters is always talking about TV. It's kind of funny. Like,
No
I know
way.
that guy. Yeah.
What a cool dude.
Yeah, he is a cool dude. He's fucking super nerdy, but like in like the best possible way, like in the most like
Love it.
detail oriented way. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. Tell him to stop by for a drink sometime.
I'll tell him. I don't know him. I just listen to his podcast.
I think if anyone could reach him, it's probably you, TV.
Yeah, right.
Let's give it a shot.
Zachary Richards says, "What's your go-to sandwich shop?" Mine is Jimmy John's for a cold sandwich with salt and vinegar chips. Or there's a local shop in Utah called Munchies with hot sandwiches. I normally get a Philly cheesesteak and a brownie.
Seems like a really easy, smart way to get a sponsored message on a podcast without actually paying.
That's true.
That's right.
We will not mention any names.
That's
just
not true.
Sandwiches are good.
I'm about to. We got this new place in town. I can't remember what it's called now. It's like Miami Joe's or something like that. Ah, shit. Anyway, I guess I won't be mentioning any names. But
I really
they have like a tuna fish.
Oh, sorry.
They have a tuna fish that they put salt
Really?
and vinegar on, like vinegar and oil and vinegar on the tuna fish grinder. I've never had that before, and it's delicious.
Like,
it's like a
tuna
$7.
fillets, or is it?
No, just tuna fish, tuna salad, like kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
I've never had it with like oil and vinegar, and it just adds a new dimension to my tuna fish sandwich that is delicious, and it's only like a $7 sandwich, which is nice. You know,
Cool.
There's a place here called Pub's Gourmet Subs, and they are delicious. Highly recommend.
There's a chain around here called Penn Station. It's pretty solid.
We have one here called Monkeys, but it's just standard. They're just really large. I miss the Quiznos chicken carbonara sub.
Did Quiznos go out of business? I haven't seen a Quiznos in forever.
Pretty sure a while ago, yeah.
They did? They're just gone, like as a chain.
I think so.
No shit. They were so cool with those hot sandwiches. Innovative.
If it does still exist, it's like, it's like a skeleton of their former self.
I didn't know that. Mylan, favorite sandwiches? You guys have sandwiches in Australia?
Do you guys have sandwiches in Australia?
You guys
are they
still
burritos?
It's just
the bread in the
Vegemite
middle.
sandwiches. It's just
Vegemite.
Vegemite. That's all we have.
What's it like over in your third world country? Like,
Just Vegemite sandwiches. That's it.
I heard you guys eat like
if you're
camel
lucky, you might get
spiders.
peanut butter. Camel spiders, yeah, they're big, right? Big ones.
I will
made the
say
most
to your
decadent fucking
credit,
peanut butter and jelly sandwich the other night. My wife brought home brioche bread that had chocolate chips in the bread baked into
dang.
it. And I made it was the most delicious fucking bread. I bet that was 1,000 calories.
you make good French toast out of that.
Yeah, I bet it would be good French toast.
Yeah, good. I love good brioche French toast. But yeah, to y'all's credit, when I was in Brisbane, I actually got down with some Vegemite. Not all of it. But there was like, I don't remember the name of it.
You
There was
liked
one
it?
brand. I was like, that's all right. That ain't bad. Yeah. And then I learned. They asked me. My gracious hosts were like, what do you want for breakfast? We got some of this. We got some shredded wheat. And I was like, I like frosted shredded wheat here in America. I'll have some of that. They gave me it was a brick.
Oh yeah,
It was
are
not
Wheat
like
Bix.
a little piece of shredded.
Wheat
It was
Bix.
like cloth, this giant. I was like, it's like this way. Like, just, holy cow, what am I supposed to do with that?
yeah, nice
Like,
to go
I'm
with
gonna
that.
eat it.
Yeah. Wheat
I
Bix,
have
baby.
Weetabix every morning.
Weetabix.
Ryan says, "What are your thoughts on difficulty scalers now? It feels really weird to get a blueberry team wipe in the seasonal activity."
Things are harder for sure. I think that's actually partly why it's another part of why the contest raid felt the way that it did, because you've just gone from doing a legendary campaign, legendary lost sectors, patrol, terminal overload. That's all way harder than
Making you try, yeah.
yeah. So all of it's freaking hard. Well, harder than it was.
Now that you've had time for the new difficulty on everything to settle in, how do you guys feel about it?
Definitely
I'm
changing days.
happy they increased the rewards for lost sectors, because it does feel a little strange to be like, it's harder, have fun, and not be like, it's harder, okay, here's also some extra rewards. But they did make that change. Lost sectors are now more rewarding, which is good. I don't mind using my brain a bit more. A little bit more, smidgen more.
Yeah, you can't just turn off and no brain all the activities anymore.
I get less tired.
Yeah, there you
go. Spade says, apart from the well-known book Ghost Cats, Human Encounters with Feline Spirits by Dusty Rainbolt, what other evidence is there for the existence of the afterlife for cats? Dude, was that another plug?
Might have been.
Let's just take out all the advertising. And...
You can have to start billing people.
The butt jokes.
I know, right? Chat, what the fuck?
I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm not unaware of feline spirits. I already made it very clear that I don't believe in ghosts.
I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Chat was reading your expressions. They said you didn't look like you were vibing with the difficulty changes.
No, I didn't say anything. I don't feel like I've done enough. Like I didn't get to play any over the weekend or anything like that to really comment. So I figured since you guys probably had more variety, like I've done the raid and a few other things, but it hasn't been long enough probably for me to comment on the difficulty of stuff. So.
I've noticed on Reddit people are complaining about it, but I mean that's almost like a full-time job on Reddit. It's complaining about stuff.
Yeah, they complain about everything.
Yeah.
My whole thing is about the rewards and is the difficulty increase worth it? So if it's feeling that way, then that's generally a good thing for me.
My question is, does it make the game more fun to play? Like, you know, regardless of rewards, is like the minute to minute like flow of the game feel more fun? That's my question.
I gotta say,
honestly, to me, it feels really boring to just like race through a strike. You know, it's like
yeah. So I think there's that part of it where it's like I do end up getting really tired doing a bunch of PvE stuff after a while because I'm not actually thinking about anything. I'm just, you know, pressing buttons. So there is that part that's nice. The part that's not so nice is when you're farming a lost sector for an exotic and it's taking way longer. And I think all of us know that we don't really want to do a difficult, long thing to farm for the thing that we want, especially if it's not rewarding, especially if we need to do it like 7 times for anything to drop.
Yeah.
For a 52 stat roll exotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Holly says, hello everyone. If you could form a band using Destiny characters, who would you pick? Mine would be made up of the Disciples of the Witness, and their band name would be Witness the Veil. Cheers and good evening. I would be Callus. Callus would be the lead singer. They would sing Jizz from Star Wars. You know, Jizz band. Like good old Bebo. I don't know. I just want Callus lead singer. I don't really care about the rest of the band.
What style would it be? You said jazz.
Jizz, not jazz. Jizz.
Oh. Is that
we've been demonetized?
That's indie jazz. That's what that means. Indie jazz.
No, it's the Star Wars music. It's from remember Bebo, the band from yeah, that's it right there.
Oh.
That's I got that straight from Wikipedia. You know, that's official.
Wikipedia.
That's a real thing too.
It is a real thing, 100%. It is run by dads.
Yeah. Autobot Dawson says, do you guys think Crota's End would have had more day one clears than Root did had leveling and the game in general been as accessible then as it is now? Personally, it seems they've always done a mix of action raids and mechanic heavy raids, and Crota more so than any was action. Crota's biggest challenge was it was buggy as fuck. That was the hardest thing about day one on Crota. Is just getting through that raid without him like warping into your spawn area or something.
No, yeah, and I would actually say that the ads posed a much bigger threat to you in Crota too. Like you remember having to huddle up in those side rooms with the ogres marching in.
Yeah, you're like, oh god, please.
Yeah, like I mean, it was.
You remember having to glitch to get ammo? What was the single shot? What was that sniper called that you used to glitch?
No Land Beyond.
Yeah. Oh,
man. I think people misremember the difficulty of Crota because you can solo it, you can solo that stuff, and so. But when that raid came out, and when the new challenge came out in when they remade it in D1, like it was a challenge. Like it's not easy. If you go back now, play D1, play it on 400 hard mode, and come back and tell me that's an easy raid. Like
that's tough.
Far removed from playing it, not having like a consistent group and stuff like that. It's gonna take you a few hours, I would bet.
Yeah, I remember
people. Good.
I remember being in a group like when you're saying with the ogre spawning and they're like, "Oh my god, is anyone in there? Get out, run!" It was just terrified. We were just hiding in corners and hiding on little walkways to stay away from stuff. It was scary.
Yeah.
In one of our earliest
really fun
podcasts, I can't remember if this was DCP or when we were still doing the Planet Destiny podcast, but we ran that raid while we were recording the podcast. And we never spoke about the raid. We never mentioned the fact that we were doing the raid until Holtzman downed Crota with the sword and said, "Fire the rockets."
Rockets? Yeah, just really quiet. Rockets.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I don't even remember the question. What was the question? Crota's end.
Do you think more people would have cleared it? Than the current
route. The scaling is so different.
Yeah,
it's so different. It's such a different game.
Yeah, that was the community. Forever 29, so right? Remember, Forever 29. You had to run Iron Banner to get like your level 30 boots, and then Crota was actually 32. So there was no chance you're going to be 32 for that boss fight.
I mean, not only that, but with Crota, that was the second raid. It's not like we had years of gear to lean on and builds that are highly optimized like we do today. Today we're so powerful. We've got crafted weapons from multiple seasons ago that are still bangers, where we can pick every single perk that we want enhanced. You know what I mean? And take those into the raid on day one. We had multiple. Our team had multiple. Everyone had multiple builds, fully tuned, kitted out, ready to go, according to whether we needed to be on ad clear, boss DPS, whatever it was. We didn't have that with Crota. You went with what you had. You know what I mean?
We had all the Volta Glass weapons, but it ended up being like the best weapons of the game anyway.
Are we counting the challenge clear too, or just the first clear? Because King's Fall,
I'm just talking about the first clear.
King's Fall was no walk in the park. You know what I mean?
King's Fall was hard as hell.
Especially like War Priest and stuff like that. So if it was anything like that and you had to clear it twice, no.
King's Fall, our first run, we got stuck because we couldn't do enough damage, and we had to run through the raid again on our second characters just to get better gear.
Oh, I was talking about the new King's Fall, the recent one.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, that wasn't a cakewalk, and we all knew how to do it.
yeah, right?
Like 70% of it, anyways.
I really like Crota's End, but the biggest challenge to me with day one Crota's End was how buggy it was. It was just like completely random.
Was buggy. It was random. It was very funny when he came running in there, stomping around. I didn't know.
Auntie Krauser says,
one more question, Briar?
One more? Sure.
Yeah, it's already.
Oh my god!
8:30.
Wow, I didn't. Sorry,
it's pretty late.
I didn't realize the time. Auntie Krauser says, I'm not gonna read that one because it's another
advertisement.
No, it's about the Briar.
About Briar.
Yeah.
Briar.
Sorry, I can't just find one. Oh, here's Hugo. Hugo79 says, "Does Hugo's stupid question?" Okay. If aliens came to Earth and asked you to explain the concept of music, how would you do it? I mean, it's just noise, really, isn't it? If aliens
I
came
would
to Earth,
throw on some sweet jams and get them to show them how to dance, and I'd be like, "Listen to the jams."
Jizz band on the radio, right?
There you go. Get the hips moving. I'll show them Briar's hips and go, "That is why."
Hips don't lie.
That is why.
And then once again, we've uncovered all the mysteries of the Destiny universe. You're welcome.
We did it. We fixed it all. All the mysteries.
That's right.
All the stuff.
I'm proud of everybody.
Solved. Seriously, right? We continue to knock it out of the park week after week. It's impressive. It's an impressive run. Undefeated. Still.
True. Undefeated, still undefeated. That's
Solo
true.
undefeated. Yeah.
Jay, it was great having you on this podcast as opposed to the other podcast that we do together.
What other podcast are you talking about?
It's the one that we talk about retro games called Retro Slot. We've done over 50 episodes.
Wow, that's
The look on everybody's face right now.
Seriously, though, it's great having you on board. It was great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
For joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Jay.
Pleasure.
Is that it?
Nice.
Anything else we want to talk about? We're good to go?
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subbing on Twitch and being a part of our Patreon to make this all happen. So thank you very much.
I should mention there was some issues with the advertising being in weird spots, I guess, with last week's episode. My bad.
Oh.
I fixed it. And I will work toward not letting it happen again.
I will be better.
But
I'm sorry.
if you have a problem with advertising in podcasts, just subscribe to the Patreon and you get the ad-free version. And it's literally going to be up tonight. I'll do it like in an hour.
There you go. It does go up right away. Like I'll be in the middle of dinner and I'll see the DCP Twitter tweet out the Patreon link and I'm like, thanks, already up there.
That's right.
So ad-free right away. Boom, bada bing.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week.
Guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.